We good? I'd like to thank you all for coming tonight and call this meeting to order. I'd like to welcome you for joining us in person, then also everybody out there on YouTube. First on the agenda is the invocation, which tonight will be offered by Paul Shulga of the Christian Faith Center in Caldwell. Please stand if you're able and join us in prayer, and then the Pledge of Allegiance.
First of all, I want to thank our City Council and Mayor Eric Phillips for keeping this long-standing tradition going of beginning in prayer. How important it is to make room for God to speak to our hearts and to guide our plans. There's a scripture I'm reminded of in Proverbs 11:14, and it goes like this: where there's no guidance, a people fails, but in the abundance of counselors there's safety. Moments like this matter because there's decisions that are made here that shape the lives of many. Leadership is more than policy, it's stewardship, seeking wisdom, listening well, and acting for the good of others. Let us pray. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather today. We ask for your wisdom, clarity, and unity to guide every decision made in this room. Give these leaders discernment to serve with integrity, humility, and a genuine desire for the good of the people. Bless this city, its families, its future. Bless the police department, the fire department, and all other emergency services. Let all the Christian institutions, churches, and schools work together to make peace and prosperity of our city happen. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
The next item on the agenda is the roll call. Will the clerk please call the roll? Oh, she's not here.
There she is.
Counselor Tillmont?
Here.
Counselor Stoddick?
Here.
Counselor Register?
Here.
Counselor Williams?
Here.
Counselor Allgood?
Here.
Counselor Dittenberg?
Here.
Okay, so the next is the conflict of interest declaration. Are there any members who have a conflict of interest to declare relating to any item on tonight's agenda? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. The next item on the agenda is a proclamation recognizing Fallen Firefighters Memorial Week. Whereas the City of Caldwell recognizes the annual National Fallen Firefighters Memorial Service as a time to honor the firefighters and emergency services personnel who have sacrificed their lives to save others, and whereas an average of 80 firefighters courageously make the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty each year, and whereas firefighters and emergency services personnel play an essential role in protecting life and property within our local community, and whereas it is vital that we continue our efforts to reduce deaths, injuries, and property loss resulting from fires, and whereas April 26th through May 3rd, 2026 is designated as a week of remembrance for fallen firefighters, honoring their service, sacrifice, and the loved ones they leave behind. And whereas the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation's Light the Night for Fallen Firefighters campaign encourages communities across the nation to illuminate homes, businesses, and public buildings in red as a visible tribute of honor, remembrance, and support. Now, therefore, I, the Council President of the City of Caldwell, call upon all citizens of Caldwell, as well as all patriotic, civic, and educational organizations, to observe May 3rd, 2026, in recognition of the dedicated service and ultimate sacrifices made by Deputy Chief Brad Trotsky Johnson and the Caldwell Fire Department, along with our nation's firefighters and emergency services personnel, by lowering the American flag to half staff. I further encourage our community to participate in the Light the night for fallen firefighters by lighting homes, fire stations, and buildings in red from April 26th through May 3rd, 2026, as a symbol of remembrance and solidarity with the families of the fallen. I do want to note that there is not a proclamation to give you tonight because the mayor's not here, so he has not signed it. But I want to recognize Brad's family, Cody Trotsky and Corinne Johnson. Do you want to stand up? So we thank you for being here. And the mayor will get it signed and to you. Next on the agenda is a discussion of recognizing Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Tonight we will hear representatives from Advocates Against Family Violence about why this month is important.
Good evening, members of City Council. During Sexual Assault Awareness Month and Child Abuse Prevention Month, we are reminded that behind every statistic is a child, a family, and a survivor whose lives have been deeply impacted. These issues are present in every community, including here in Caldwell, and addressing them requires awareness, education, and action. By supporting survivors, strengthening families, and investing in prevention and early intervention, we can help break the cycle of violence. I encourage the continued support for local organizations and partnerships that provide critical services, and thank you for your commitment to making Caldwell a safer place for all children and families. At this time, I would like to introduce Brooke Ruiz. She is a junior at Thomas Jefferson Charter School here in Caldwell, and she is also a child care advocate at Advocates Against Family Violence.
Hello and good evening, everyone. My name is Brooklyn Ruiz, and I am a junior at Thomas Jefferson Charter School here in Caldwell. And I also work as a child care advocate at the Hopeland Learning Center under Advocates Against Family Violence, or AAFV. I am the youngest person who is working in the company as of right now. I am 16 years old. But in my time and my work, I've witnessed two conflicts that communities face in the dark far too often: sexual assault and child abuse. In my work, I've seen up close how sexual assault affects an individual, not just in the moment, but after, and how it can affect someone for the rest of their lives. I have seen firsthand that it is extremely difficult for many individuals to have the courage to speak up and take a stand for themselves. Throughout my time working in this company, I have learned that healing does not start with paperwork, explanations, or accusations. It starts with how someone responds when an individual has the immense bravery to say, "I'm not okay because this happened to me." I have learned that through AAFV alone, in 2025, 381 victims of sexual violence reached out for assistance, and 250 of those cases were teenagers, people who were my age and just like me and people I interact with on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes survivors are easily met with doubt and disbelief, questions instead of care, and silence instead of support. I have learned that some of the deepest wounds don't just come from the attack itself, but it can come from the why questions, the judgment and or denial from those who are supposed to be your biggest supporters, which is why there is hesitation to report abuse. I have learned that Advocates Against Family Violence provides support and services that aim to find people in their darkest moments. At AAFV, we don't hesitate, we don't accuse, we don't assume. We believe, and we offer a safe place for survivors and an oath that we will not leave their side. I want to emphasize that support really does take a village. Survivors are not another number added to the tally. They are people who need help from you, help from me, and help from us. At AAFV, we are building a better future and ending infinite cycles of assault and abuse. At AAFV, we have all pledged to start by believing, and I encourage everyone to start by believing, because the survivor's road to healing does not start with proof. It starts with when we choose to believe. Going back to my job as an advocate for children, I began my work with AAFV roughly 2 years ago. If you would have asked me 2 years ago why I wanted to work with kids, I would have said something simple like I just needed a job. However, it is not so simple anymore, and the meaning goes far beyond having a job and a paycheck in hand. When you spend so much time around kids, you start to notice the little things, the ones who flinch too fast, the ones who are a lot more quiet than normal, the ones who zone out when they would normally smile and laugh, the ones who hold on to you just a little longer than normal like they don't want to let go of feeling safe. The hardest part of all of this is realizing that for some kids, that feeling simply does not exist anywhere else. Not every child goes home to safety, comfort, and love. Not every child has someone who listens and cares. Not every child gets to just be a kid. And they don't always say it out loud. Sometimes it's in what they don't say. Sometimes it's in what they're afraid of saying. And that is what changed everything for me. Because child abuse prevention isn't loud. It's quiet. It's paying attention. It's noticing what others might miss, and it's choosing to care even when it is uncomfortable. Because for some kids, one person noticing could be the difference between staying silent and finally being seen. And the scariest part, there are kids out there right now who are just waiting for somebody to notice. Sexual assault and child abuse thrive in darkness and disbelief. We cannot wait for proof to offer compassion and support. We must choose to believe first. My name is Brooklyn Ruiz, and I have pledged to start by believing. And I invite you to join us in this fight to replace silence with action, doubt with support, and darkness with light. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any comments?
Yeah, I do. How's our police department working with this situation? You satisfied? Need improvements?
We work really well with the police department. We have a partnership and work directly with Liz quite often on cases. They refer over, and then we also refer and work with the police department.
Okay, so the communication's going quite well then?
Very
Is that-
well, yeah.
Okay, great. Good to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Next on the agenda is audience participation. Each person can speak for 3 minutes, and there is a clock behind us. So the first person on the list is Robin Della Maggiore.
Okay, Mayor Phillips reached out to Robin and asked her personally to come and talk, and she was unable to, so she wrote a letter. She did send to the mayor and to the council president and the clerk that she gave me permission to read her letter. So I'd like to start now with my 3 minutes. And I'll give a copy to each council person. This letter is to our current sitting council members, Mayor Eric Phillips, Caldwell Police Department, and Caldwell Street Department. I was encouraged to write this letter to you even though it will probably fall on deaf ears with the exception of Diana Register and Mayor Phillips. I ask that you look up from your computer screens and papers and really pay attention. I know you are probably tired of hearing about this situation because of the numerous emails and letters I have sent to you, including ex-Mayor Jerem Wagner, who never responded. Most of them have gone unanswered, including one counselor whom I have yet to hear from. I voted for that counselor thinking he would make good on his promises, but soon regretted my decision, especially after his vote on the quiet zone. Mayor Phillips has responded several times addressing his concern. I have sent well over 200 videos to traffic enforcement over the last 2 years about the speeding on Larch Street between Indiana and Illinois. We've been trying to address this problem with the city for the last 20 years. Speed limit signs and children at play signs were put up but are ignored frequently. The only one I can give credit to is Officer Eldridge. He has helped me more than anyone. He stopped a driver driving 55 miles per hour on our 25-mile-per-hour street, but only after I sent him numerous videos and established a time frame that he could observe him driving recklessly. That man, who lives on Montana, continues to drive to this day at that speed on our street as well as many others. The street department came out years ago, but after the traffic had already peaked. A council member who is no longer with us came out to observe the traffic, but at one of the slowest times of day. When the radar trailer was working and parked out on the street, the highest speed recorded was 60 miles per hour. The radar trailer is ineffective because drivers purposely speed to see how fast they can go. There have been animals hit and property damage done by vehicles. A neighbor down the street had his garage door taken out by a high school student driving recklessly a few years ago. We've had cars drag race each other down our street, and we've had cars pass each other going the same direction on our street as well. All of this has been reported and still no solution to the problem. We have small grandchildren that would love to go out and decorate the sidewalk and driveway with chalk, but I'm afraid to let them go out. I'm afraid that a speeding vehicle might lose control and hit one of them. I observe little kids that ride their bikes on the sidewalk, and I hope and pray they are safe. I have asked for speed humps, but was told no because of emergency vehicles and snowplows. Our street hasn't been plowed since Snowmageddon in 2017. Emergency vehicles have no problem navigating the 2 dips at the west end of the street. One more dip in the middle of the street close to us isn't going to hurt anyone but the drivers who continue to ignore the speed limit.
I'm going to stop you
I've
right there,
seen-
just because we've got to our 3 minutes. How much more do you have?
2 paragraphs.
We'll probably have to wrap it up because we have a
Okay.
3-minute timeline. But I do
She
think
did
that,
want to say thank you, and she looks forward to a solution in the near future, and it's from Robin Della Maggiore.
Okay.
And I do have a copy for everyone.
I do think that you can give a copy to the city clerk to enter it into record. And then it will be in the minutes, and we'll make sure the mayor forwards it to the right place. Thank you. And then it looks like, Jean, you're next on the list.
Okay, for really me. Good evening, Jean Kreitbring. Repeatedly, citizens speculate about under-the-table or backdoor deals. Well, thanks to the leaked Roger Brooks email, it is evident that this is true. I am concerned that the taxpayers paid for an unprofessional consultant that considers the citizens cockroaches and minions. I truly feel for Char and the venom he spewed. But as a council, you should be concerned that he had his Fab Five secretly trying to tie up real estate. To quote him, quote, "These properties need to come into public ownership for the development of the downtown parking structure. This needs to be done before our plan becomes too public," end quote. All part of his February checklist. Interesting that he was moving forward in January as if the plan was a done deal. He already has a Spokane firm to design, permit, build, and finance the conference center, public parking structure, and the wine and culinary center. Isn't there an RFP process to follow? In addition, I thought a previous gripe was that we keep bringing in out-of-state developers and builders instead of within our own backyard. According to the MOU, there was supposed to be community outreach and engagement, such as public open houses, surveys, online availability for public comment, social media, and public visioning. There was supposed to be 3 or more at-large residents living within the study area, a student body representative, and various individuals from surrounding or affected entities. None of that ever happened. It's my understanding that the plan is being presented in June, yet the MOU was never followed. On February 5th, Travis Palmer said, "Coming soon," to nearly every deficiency of the MOU, 2.5 months ago. Honestly, the city should demand a refund and not move forward with someone so unprofessional in his lack of following an MOU and bad-mouthing the citizens and staff. I understand that he posted a public apology today. However, if one of your employees posted something as egregious as his leaked email, they would be fired. Within his apology, he claims he was pulled into the quiet zone debate, yet in his leaked checklist, he detailed what needed to be done to make sure the quiet zone was approved. Destination Caldwell distributed an 8-point checklist titled, quote, "According to Roger Brooks, downtown destination planner, downtown businesses should support Central Caldwell Rail Quiet Zone," end quote. Similarly, they had a form letter for businesses to submit. If you approve the plan or ask him to come back, you are condoning his words and actions. That would honestly reflect poorly on this council. I've done several public records requests. I will share too that I read the email in which Roger Brooks picked apart the URA board, declaring who was worthless and who should be removed or who should actually be served on the board. Another example of his unprofessional demeanor. And I'll go ahead and stop there. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and the last speaker is Dale King.
Good evening, City Council members. I come to you this evening extremely disappointed in the fairness of Caldwell right now. And what I mean by that is I came to you, City Council members, back in January talking about quasi-judicial matters and keeping matters quiet amongst yourselves and to the public. Those items need to be addressed within City Council and at City Council only, with discussions, hearings, and testimony given to this information. With that, I will quote the current mayor that is posted less than 20 hours ago. Wait till you see 2 annexations requests coming in May. He's talking about the service infrastructures and all that good stuff. This is 2 quasi-judicial matters with an elected official. If I was one of these 2 individuals that were permitting for this, I would pull my matter and take it to legal. This is the second time I've asked Oscar to stop this type of contact as it's going on now. The mayor needs to think about legal and quasi-judicial matters that need to be heard here in City Council and not having discussions in a public forum before any type of testimony is given. Any developer, whether they are local, foreign, or have large investments within this community, deserves the right to come to City Council with fairness and availability. Right now, that is not the case. I can't stress how urgent this is, especially for this particular City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is approving the, oh, did you want to, sorry about that. I believe,
Madam President, I just curious, have you got some details on which one of those projects was discussed? And is it on tonight's agenda, or?
It is not. He stated, wait until you see 2 annexations requests coming in May. He's flat out telling people his stance, his point of view, and that it's a joke that they're actually coming to the council.
And that was between a couple of city councilmen, you're saying?
No, this is
Oh.
posted online from your mayor, who is an elected official.
Oh, I see.
Has a vote if there is a tie for the board, and is actually telling how he's going to vote and trying to persuade city council members. That is unethical.
Okay, thank you.
okay, next on the agenda is approving the consent calendar. These are routine items that are grouped together to be approved in one motion, unless a counselor moves for one or more items to be removed from the consent calendar and considered separately. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
So it has been moved by Counselor Stodic and seconded by Counselor Allgood to approve the consent calendar.
Madam President, we're having technical issues, so I'll call the roll on these.
Thank you.
Stodic?
Yes.
Allgood?
Yes.
Tillmont?
Yes.
Register?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, Dittenber?
Yes.
Okay, so that's approved. So we'll move on to old business, and the first item is an action item to consider an appeal filed by Ms. Locke, property owner of 814 Trailside Drive. Ms. Locke is appealing.
Excuse me, but my name is Lach, L-A-C-H.
Okay. To consider an appeal. She's appealing the intent by code compliance to abate shrubs located on her property. The council may affirm, withdraw, or modify the order to abate. And first, we'll hear from the city attorney, who will discuss the process for the council's consideration of this appeal and how it could be decided.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to give since these are so rare for the council, we thought it wise for me to give a little bit of an overview of what the council is going to hear on the appeal and how it will be handled. Also, just as a matter of housekeeping, the appellant has asked if I will read her written statement that's already been supplied to the city council, and that will be her argument for appeal. After that, there'll be an opportunity for the council to ask staff questions about the appeal if you so choose, and then to take up the item, if that makes sense. As already stated, there are three options for the council on appeal. The council can affirm the order to abate, withdraw the order to abate, or modify the order. And with that, I will go ahead and read the letter that was submitted by the appellant. And my apologies, I've just received this, so this will be my first read through and it's handwritten. So please grant me your grace as I go through that, okay? It begins, in response to the letter dated February 24th, 2026, and received on March 2nd, 2026, a case number 2600714, I explain the following. I have lived in Caldwell since 1998 until now at 814 Trailside Drive, when I purchased the plot and built the house. I signed a commitment to respect the future subdivision regulations, which come into being almost a year later. From the moment we moved in, I was one of the first residents. We began transfer houses into, I apologize, it's in the record. It was a big expense, but we all longed for a normal life. I planted a grass, fruit tree, bushes, and ornamental shrubs around my property, and I topped it off. I covered all 3-foot white vinyl with a 3-foot white vinyl fence, which cost was $7,000. The neighbors also began transforming the yard earth into a more human-looking grade as soon as everything was green. Our dreams come true. We formed friendships that I hope exist to this day. I haven't broken any regulations of the subdivision. For years, no one questioned the existence of my trees. I'm hearing many compliments, and beautiful smell from my garden spreads far from my property. Previous city officials had no complaints about my property. Now, after the election, the city officials have changed with a sudden surge of intent in 814 Trailside Drive. Today, the city does not meet or expect or respect our agreement. It imposes its own regulations, disturbing our peace of mind. Try to model the subdivision to its taste without concerning residents and applying the law backward, I think is what that says. Furthermore, by meeting to the people of the city, it is going against residents, but the city has forgetting its history. But we, the people, remember. At the time, since 1998, the, quote, town, end quote, of Caldwell looked completely different than it does today. Very, very different. For example, the streets had no sidewalks. They walked on the streets in cars driving each and back and forth. This situation lasted for quite a long time. My question now is, when did you create the regulations you are referring to in 2026? But for stopping this problem behind residents of the city, I think such is a wise solution. I travel around the country and I spoke with the traffic police who supported my solution. It's installation of, quote, street mirrors, end quote, at the problem area so the problem be immediately solved at minimal costs for the city of Caldwell. I think that the solutions and goodwill should result in a positive decision. Thank you. Trees are the lungs of the world. Sincerely, the appellant. So with that, that will suffice as the written submission and argument of the appellant. If the council has any questions, I direct them to staff.
I believe we're going to hear from Morgan Bisaw now.
Why the city don't recognize the mirror, street mirror?
Morgan, do you have a presentation to give?
Morgan Bisa, Planning and Zoning. No, we do not have a presentation.
Okay.
The presentation was what the attorney provided, but there was a packet that had the letter as well as some additional information following the whole code of enforcement process and the intent to abate, as well as some photos and an aerial site view.
Thank you. Counselor Allgood?
Morgan, I assume you're handling this. If I understand the packet right, we have done this before, many times before. We've had this situation with this particular shrubs.
On this particular property, this did
Yes.
happen one other time, approximately 10, 11 years ago. That is correct.
And that was appealed back then, and then,
At the time that this happened 10 years ago, there was an appeal at that time as well, and council chose to affirm the abatement at that time.
right, yes, yes. Okay, and thank you. I assume she understands the 40-foot vision triangle at any intersection. That's been explained?
It was in the letter. The reason for the abatement, the intent to abate, was provided in the letters.
Okay, and that's the crux of the problem, is a 40-foot vision triangle at an intersection?
That's correct.
Thank
So it's
you.
not a request to remove all of the arborvitae. It is just the arborvitae within the vision triangle.
Right, right. Thank you.
Any other questions? So she was going to be given time to speak, and then it sounded like instead Oscar ran the letter, but of course she can come up. Did you want to come up and speak? Yes. Okay.
Good evening. Before me somebody reading my letters, I have exactly one question. Why you guys not like it installation mirror on this place where is problem? Just mirror. Everybody on the world say it's important, is green, air, oxygen. We have a situation like this, you just looking for one weight, like communist people. Cut, cut, cut. Not working with us, not working for people. You make situation like direction to us. I'm not communist country, I'm not communist. I live in America, I love this country, and I'm free. I respect Constitution. President Trump say we are free from speech, we are free people. So I like it understand why you guys attack me. Why you attack me? Please tell me why. Why you not working with me?
Ma'am?
I buy these
Ma'am?
houses, I pay money for this. I try to be very
Ma'am?
nice neighbor, and right now I have a situation where just I don't have a voice. I can't say anything. Why is like this?
Ma'am, do you understand the law on a 40-foot, on a vision triangle at an intersection?
Why. Where is the man talk to me? I not see
40 foot
who
each
talk to
direction?
me.
Me.
Good.
Do you understand that nothing can be too high or too low to inhibit traffic at an intersection for a 40-foot vision triangle? Do you understand that?
You make me confused. Do you hear what I say you? Why you
I
not
did
like
hear,
it? Use
but
it?
this is the
installation,
law.
the mirror, the problem be gone. Why you don't like it? This is answer.
No, it's
For
not
my
hassle,
question.
it's the law.
No, you don't respect my question, and you don't respect me, because it's just mirror. Like I talk to police on the street, the street police. They know very well the law. They so million things happen to every day. Is solution very good? Put the mirror on the next to street. It be problem be gone. No, just gone.
Okay, thank you very much. We're
I don't know,
gonna,
Chase. Thank you very much.
okay,
And
any
I also like
further
this-
questions for her, or I guess we'll go ahead and have staff questions or any discussion?
And people, I just one thing, be not direction. We are different country. We have a freedom. We are free people.
Yes.
We can to have a different opinion, but you don't have. You have to forget the direction to people.
Thank you.
This is America, and I'm a very good American.
Thank
I
you.
think. I
So-
do everything for this country.
Well, we're
I
gonna-
make lots of money for donation for every organization. Even I have a 5 notes from information is I'm first in the Caldwell who pay donation for
Thank you
any
very much.
organization. I'm very good person.
Okay.
No, okay. No, I tell you how good I am. So
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. I respect you be the same to me. Thank you.
So we appreciate your testimony very much and your concern for your property. I have a couple of questions, if nobody else does.
I did have one first. I had one first.
Go ahead.
One of the questions that was raised in what Oscar read was the question of when it was added into the ordinance. I wanted to verify that I'm reading it correctly, that the items prohibited in the triangle falls under 6 items prohibited, and it looks like the ordinance under 2661 was changed in January of 2008.
That is correct.
Okay, so and that's pretty much what we're using, correct?
Yes, so the code section, I apologize. I don't have it in front of me, but I believe when I pulled this up, when we were doing our research, that it was 2008 as well, prior to the first incidence of an intent to abate in 2015.
Okay.
So I guess that was kind of my question too, is if she planted before the code came into play, has she been grandfathered in or anything, or no? Is it? Okay.
I don't remember hearing, I don't remember what date they said that she planted the shrubs, but no. So plants, vision triangle, those are safety matters, so they would
Right.
need to be,
Well, I was just thinking,
Adhered
if
to.
in 1998, when she bought the house, if she planted and there was no code, then would we then talk about the mirrors as a solution as opposed to having her pull out plants that didn't have restrictions then, is what I was getting at.
so code enforcement is not requesting that she pull out any of her shrubs, just trim them to a low enough level that you can see around the corner.
Great, okay. All right, perfect. So, at this point, we'll entertain a motion on the appeal.
Madam President,
Yeah. Counselor Allgood.
I'm not quite sure how to read this, but I would deny the appeal. The appeal to code enforcement to abate the shrubs on 814 Trailside due to vision obstruction. The vision obstruction has to be mitigated.
Is there a second?
Sorry. It would be, I believe, a motion to affirm the abatement.
Correct. Yeah, if the motion that I understand from Councilor Algood is to go ahead and enforce the abatement action, it would be a motion to affirm.
That's what I'm making, yes, thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion to affirm the abatement by Counselor Allgood with a second with Counselor Dittenberg. And we will, are we ready for a vote?
Yeah.
Oh,
All good? Yes. Dittenberg?
Yes.
Tomont?
Yes.
Stodic?
Yes.
Register?
yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Okay, so that motion passes. The next item on the agenda is an action item and a public hearing for case number SPP 25-000-009, ZON 25-000-005. The applicant, ALC Architecture, on behalf of Bennett Forest Industries Incorporated, is requesting a rezone of a portion of 2 parcels from C2 to R2 to include a development agreement, as well as approval of a preliminary plat for Ambrosia subdivision, a mixed-use subdivision with 8.42 acres of commercial fronting on Ustick Road and South 10th Avenue. The subdivision will also include 5.03 acres of single-family residential, 63 single-family detached lots, with a density of 8.6 units per acre. The subject site is located on the south side of East Usick Road, approximately 275 feet west of the intersection with South 10th Avenue. The application was recommended for denial by the hearing examiner on Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. This is a quasi-judicial public hearing, and it is essential to follow the process to ensure the participants are treated fairly and respectfully and helping to inform the decision that is made. So first, we will hear from the applicant or their representative. They will have 10 minutes. We will follow up with staff on their report with the application and then public comments. There is a note here to provide your name and address, speak into the microphone. You have up to 3 minutes. That again is shown on the clock on the wall behind us. Comments must be relevant to the application. Please try not to repeat comments made by others. And then after public comments, the applicant or their representative will be given 5 minutes to rebut the public testimony. And then after that rebuttal, the public hearing is closed. No new testimony or other comments or information may be offered unless the hearing is reopened. So first, we'll hear from the applicant or their representative, and you'll have 10 minutes.
Jeff Likes, 1119 East State Street, Eagle, Idaho, 83616. Good evening, Madam President and Council. Before you tonight is a rezone and a preliminary plat for Ambrosia subdivision located at the southwest corner of 10th and U-Stick. Site's right there. Walgreens on the corner, and it's about 16.56 acres. The site is currently zoned C2 community commercial, and that's the entire 16.56 acres. We're proposing to rezone the southern 8.84 acres to R2, and then the northern portion of that will remain C2. The reason for the rezone is in a C2, it's a community commercial area. This site is a little deep for what we call neighborhood commercial. And so we are still proposing commercial along 10th, which is off to the east, and then along the north, which is Ustick Road. So we're just rezoning the southern portion there. With that, we're asking for 56 single-family residential lots. I think the write-up's at 63, but it is 56. And 7 commercial lots. We reduced that number to 56 after our hearings examiner hearing as well, based off of comment from the neighbors, kind of help appease them a little bit too. So the area that we have revised is the area in the outlined in red there. During the hearing examiner hearing, our first hearing, those were 40-foot wide lots. Those have now been revised to 50-foot wide lots. The remaining lots, oh, that doesn't work. The remaining lots to the north there are all 40-foot wide lots, and the 3 to the west are also 40-foot wide lots. Let me give you some breakdowns here. With this layout, we are 39% commercial, 37% residential, 22% of this will be right-of-way or roads, and 1.8% is common space. That's in there. We did hold a neighborhood meeting. The first one was held August 28th. That was on site. We had about 19 neighbors show up. Most of it was good conversation. It was anything that was out of the ordinary. We felt like we had a good project. Came to hearings examiner. Neighbors were concerned that we had 40-foot wide lots or against their single-family lots to the south, which is why, again, we revised them to 50-foot wide, just to allow a little more space in there as well. We also held a second neighborhood meeting on March 24th. That was a voluntary meeting on us after the hearings examiner. With that, I am sorry I was not there, but our developer was there, and if questions come up on that, Travis is here, and he'll be able to speak to that meeting. But he has told me that that also went well with the neighbors, kind of alleviated some concerns. They've addressed that they do kind of appreciate the 50-foot wide lots there. Surrounding uses here, both uses, there we go. Both the uses here are C2 and R2 zones. To the north, to the east, the north is an R1 single-family residential zone in Canyon County. The south is C1 commercial, east is C1 commercial, and the west is community commercial as well. Near the site, our site's currently vacant land. We have single-family homes to the north, single-family homes to the south, and some commercial, Walgreens, Walmart, Maverick, all to the east. Zoning-wise, there's the community center is what we're zoned at. The north is also community center. The south is neighborhood 2, and the east and the west is also community center. So what we have proposed is complement to those place center types there. The comprehensive plan dictates that this wants to be 8 to 15 dwelling units per acre. We understand that we are under that, and we are proposing to be under that to a 6.8 dwelling units per acre. And so we ask you guys to consider that. We've done that. One is we think it's too dense. Add an 8 to 15 dwelling units per acre. So to kind of help transition from single-family homes up to the commercial. That's what we propose there as our 40 wides with a 6.8 dwelling units per acre. In this, I guess in our neighborhood meetings and in the hearings that we've had with the hearings examiner, neighbors have brought up that they do want commercial to stay on this site. I don't know if they understand what can be there, so I'm just going to list a few uses that can be there. We're not saying these are appropriate uses for the site, but these are uses that can be outright uses in the C2 zone. An automotive car wash, a commercial animal kennel, a flex space with overhead doors facing south, a lodging, boutique hotel, restaurant limited services, which includes drive-throughs, and retail sales up to 80,000 square feet per building. At an 80,000 square foot per building, we can fit about 3 or 4 of those on this lot, which again are about 25, 30 feet high. That's our max height. Those have loading docks, loud noises, and so we're trying to not have that be on this site. We're trying to do neighborhood commercial up front with the residential behind. The public utilities will extend from Walgreens to the north on our east, all the way down to the west, all the way through our site. We're extending the road south as well there on the west. And then we'll be extending the road on the south of Walgreens, south of our site down to 10th, all the way down there as well as utilities in there as well. And those are sewer main lines that run through there as well. Full access is off to the east. Right in, right out will be in the center of the site on U-Stick. Right in, right out will be as far south on 10th as possible as well. Here's the residential landscape plan. Just working around there, we've got common space in the middle and then a big common space in the southwest corner, excuse me, as well there. And here's just some open space charts. I'm sure you've read those. With there, we are over, I guess we'll call it over planting the trees, over landscaping, which is required there. 8 trees are required. We're providing 13 along certain areas. So this is an example of the residential houses that could go in there on the south as well for those lots that we're proposing. And so I appreciate it, and I will stand for any questions.
Councilor Algen?
Yes, sir. Roughly, looking at your outlay of houses, about what kind of square footage on houses are we talking about there? How big a house are we talking about there, roughly?
You can get about a 18 to 2,200 square foot house on those lots.
And
On the 40 wides, sorry, on the 40 wides.
And how big a lot is that, square foot wise?
It's a 4,200 square feet, I believe.
4,200 square feet?
Yeah, yeah.
And they'll all be individual, they're not connected?
They are all individual lots, not connected lots, correct. Single-family lots, yeah. And I should say the 4,200 or 4,000 square feet lots are the 40 wides. The 50, again, are 50 by 104, so they're gonna be about 5,000 square feet on the lots on the south.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Counselor Stanek.
Question for you, on the Cumberland subdivision there that would border this property on the south, are they single-family, single-story homes, or what are they?
Madam President, Counselor, they are single-family homes, and I believe they're all single-story along there as well.
Okay, and the ones that you're proposing, two-story homes?
We're actually, I am not a builder. We are getting a plat done, and then whoever comes in and builds will do.
Okay, there was a picture here of your homes. It looked to me like it was two-story.
These are two-story, our example homes are two-story, but we're not saying what's gonna be built where. But typically two-story homes, yes.
So there is a chance that there'd be two-story homes butting up against the Cumberland single-story family homes, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
I just have a quick question. So you're just platting this, you're not building on it. So is there any chance that this could be built into duplexes or apartments or anything like that?
Madam President, with the plat, they are platted as single-family homes, so they would stay, without doing a replat, they'll stay as single-family homes.
Okay, thank you. I guess that's it.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, so next we'll have the staff report.
Thank you, Madam President and Council. Katie Wright, Planner 3, 205 South 6th Avenue. ALC Architecture, on behalf of Bennett Forest Industries, Inc., is requesting a rezone of a portion of parcels R32582 and R32581 from C2 to R2, as well as approval for a preliminary plat for Ambrosia subdivision, a mixed-use subdivision with 56 single-family homes and 6.21 acres of commercial. The subject property is 16.57 acres located at the southwest corner of 10th Avenue and Eustick Road. The subject parcel is currently being utilized as farmland. The property is surrounded by residential to the south, commercial to the east and west, and Eustick Road to the north. On the north side of Eustick, there is a larger residential lots. In 2001, parcel R32582 was part of an application to annex 76.5 acres, ANN 5001. The subject parcel was annexed with the initial zone C2, along with the parcel where Walgreens is currently located. The rest of ANN 5001 is not part of this application. Also in 2001, parcel R32581 was annexed into the city with the initial zone of C2, ANN 5601. At the time, this parcel had a single-family home that has since been demolished. The parcels are currently located within the city with the C2 Community Commercial Zone. The applicant has requested a rezone of the southern 8.84 acres from C2 to R2 and will keep 7.73 acres zoned C2. The site is 16.5 acres and is located in a largely developed area in which municipal services are already available. The applicant's proposing a mixture of single-family residential detached and community development or commercial development along the arterial frontage, which conforms with the purpose statement as specified within the Caldwell City Code for R2 community residential zones and C2 community commercial. The proposed density of 6.3 dwelling units per acre is less than what's required by city code, and which requires 8 to 15 dwelling units per acre. The parcel is located along the key corridor overlay. The purpose of this overlay is to connect people and help them move through the city, but also serve as a distinct place that is high profile. They utilize streetscape elements with distinct landscaping, signage, or similar placemaking elements to create a sense of place as one moves along the corridor. As part of this project, the applicant is requested to submit design review for commercial buildings fronting Ustick and 10th Avenue. That includes buildings fronting the streets with parking in the rear, specific street landscaping, and elevations that meet design characteristics in the comp plan. The subject site is located in the community center place type within the comprehensive plan. The community center is a primarily low-intensity commercial place type. However, it does allow for some higher density residential uses that can transition the commercial uses to surrounding residential uses. The requested R2 zone is a compatible zoning district within the community center place type. The comp plan also calls out this area as an area hub, which encourages increased intensity and density of development. This should be focused around a large gathering space, park, or similar major public amenities. Area hubs and community centers should be 3 to 5 stories in scale at their core, and then transition in intensity and scale from surrounding uses of wherein less intensity should be included. The large scaling of the building is not codified, so this is not required by code, but the building scale will be reviewed at time of building permit to be compatible with the surrounding areas. Staff has recommended a condition for the applicant to depict a public plaza/gathering space on the plans at time of design review. The preliminary plat request is for 56 single-family detached lots. The project also proposes 6.21 acres of commercial. Prior to the hearing examiner hearing, the applicant reduced the number of single-family detached lots from 63 to 60 to provide additional open space. After the hearing examiner recommendation of denial due to lack of transition, the applicant modified the plans to go from 60 to 56 single-family detached lots to address the neighboring residents and the hearing examiner's concerns about lot size on the southern boundary. The reduction of the 4 residential lots allowed the applicant to increase the size of the single-family detached lots that are along the southern boundary from 40 feet wide to 50 foot wide lots to provide a smoother transition from the larger lots to the south to this proposed development. 10% open space is being provided at 0.93 acres, where 10% is the required minimum. The development will have right-in, right-out access off of Ustick Road to the commercial portion, and right-in, right-out access off of 10th Avenue. There will also be an access from Kimball Avenue along the west boundary of the site, which will be a full access. And due to the size and scope of the development, a traffic impact study is required prior to plans review. The applicant is requesting the proposed reduced density of 6.3 dwelling units per acre be allowed through the development agreement because the proposed project still serves the intent of the comp plan and the code, providing a smoother transition from the larger residential lots to the south and the commercial that's required along 10th and Ustick. To fit open space in the commercial uses on this site, it'd be hard to meet the density without going below the allowed lot size for the R2 zone while keeping the single-family detached product type. If the development agreement is approved, the proposed project meets code requirements. Sorry, a little behind. There you go. All utilities are available or will be made available to serve the proposed mixed-use development. Political subdivisions, including school districts, were notified and provided opportunity to comment. No agency commented with concerns. Public notices were sent to all property owners within 500-foot radius of the property. Ray and Sherry Marsicola commented in opposition, stating concerns regarding the density, the residential being prioritized rather than the commercial, and the potential danger of the stub street leading to their backyard. Linda Davis commented in opposition due to the density of the housing and that it will be 2 stories. This I apologize. Jeff Allen commented in opposition due to his desire to have the property remain commercial, but that if the rezone is approved, that the southern residential lots are limited to single-story homes. And Laura Shannon commented in opposition, requesting that the homes shall be restricted to single family and a development agreement shall be put in place to ensure the uses that will be located on this property. She also wants the commercial uses to be built first and that adequate parking be provided. And then there were 2 late comments provided. The first was submitted by David Kroll in favor of the project with some suggested restrictions that homes be limited to 2-story with windows only on the north side of the 2nd floor bordering Cumberland. And the second late comment was submitted by, and I apologize, Cher Travis Ellis in opposition due to desire to keep the parcel commercial, traffic concerns, neighborhood safety, and incompatibility of multifamily in this location. The application was heard by the hearing examiner on February 24th and recommended for denial due to the lack of transition in lot size from the residential to the south to commercial along the frontage. As mentioned, the applicant has made changes to their site plan since that hearing in an attempt to address these concerns. And staff's initial review found that the proposed project is in conformance with all applicable city codes, approval criteria per city code and Idaho code, the adopted comp plan and future land use maps, and all other adopted master plans and city policies. The city council has the authority to approve or deny applications based on the approval criteria within Caldwell City Code once they've reviewed the record and evidence and heard all public testimony. And thank you, and I stand for questions.
Katie?
Yeah.
The applicant listed a list of commercial projects that could go there. Was that list pretty accurate?
Madam President, Councilor, that is accurate. C2 does have many varying intensity commercial uses that would be outright permitted, that would not necessarily need any plat or any other public hearing type of entitlement. They could just hypothetically.
They wouldn't come back and see us, they could just build.
Correct.
So this neighborhood could have a car wash next to it.
I don't want to say for sure a car
But,
wash,
yeah, I'm
but
just saying.
hypothetically,
But
something
hypothetically,
along
yes,
those lines,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, I just want to confirm that we
Yes.
had the same understanding is, you know, with it staying commercial, we don't have any control of how that goes.
That is correct.
That is correct. And then if this were to be approved, I didn't care for the idea we wouldn't know what's going to be built there. If this were to be approved, would we see this again, have some input again, or are they just done?
Madam President and Councilor, if this is approved, this would not need to come back before you for the commercial uses, if that is the
No, I
question.
mean, if it goes to residential.
I
and
apologize.
If we were to approve the residential portion, but as the applicant said, he's not the builder, so he can't tell us what's going to be there.
The concepts. Madam President, Councilor, we could condition things through the development agreement if there were certain architectural standards you wanted these residential homes to meet. That's a possibility. But otherwise, for what the future builder may build, we're uncertain at this time besides the conceptual elevations they've provided us.
Thank you so much, appreciate it.
Councilor Williams?
Thank you. Several questions here. There was concern about the streets and where they end up, but streets will be the same whatever goes in there. Is that correct, Katie?
Madam President, Councilor Williams, are you talking about the internal streets?
Yes. Well, the stub outs anywhere, where they come out at Sotera and where they come out on Ustick and on 10th, those are already predetermined. Is that not correct?
Madam President and Councilor Williams, to an extent, so Kimball Avenue, the road that is on the farthest west side, that is already existing, going into the neighboring development, Sotera. The southern stub over off onto 10th, that could potentially be changed. I know there are spacing requirements that the city engineer could touch on. So I don't know if that could be moved further north or not, based on those requirements.
A question about traffic then. 50-plus single-family detached dwelling units, typically what would create more traffic? 56 homes or if we had restaurants and supermarkets and car washes and whatnot, because there's a concern about these homes creating more traffic. I wonder if it's another neighborhood Walmart, which obviously wouldn't be right across the street, if that might generate more trips per day than 56 single-family homes.
Madam President, Councilor Williams, I will defer that to the city engineer.
Madam President and Councilman Williams, so describing commercial traffic can be tricky when you don't know what type of commercial is going to go into a development. And so that was why I did want to see a TIS to have a better understanding of what type of commercial is expected in this area. To your point, 55 residential does not meet that TIS threshold, but we required it anywho. The residential traffic can be less than commercial, but the timing of the traffic can depend on the time, or I guess the time of day can depend on that amount of traffic. So when you have that residential, typically you're seeing them using the roads during that rush hour. Whereas with commercial traffic, it's very dependent as to which type of commercial development is going into this location to determine if it's going to have a large impact to that rush hour traffic, which is typically what people care about the most. So if it is like a general office building, right, you would typically see that that's going to produce similar type of rush hour traffic. Something like the neighborhood Walmart, I would expect that their peak traffic hour is offset from the typical rush hour traffic. So I'm stammering a little bit just because I don't know exactly what commercial development is going in there right now. And so that is why we do often continue to work with the developers on commercial traffic to say that we're not granting any driveway access on U-Stick or 10th until we know what that commercial actually is going to be. And so our TIS, that's why it's still under review, is because we're still working through getting a better idea of what commercial is going in this area, and specifically how that's going to impact the U-Stick and 10th intersection, to see if we need to have additional safety improvements at the intersection itself off-site from the development.
Thank you, that's very helpful. And then if I could, one last question. It's related to the comp plan. And the way we design this is that C2 essentially is the same depth, if you will, as the neighborhood Walmart. When we envision that in our comp plan, do we envision more supermarkets in this area or car washes? I'd love a car wash there. It'd be a lot more convenient for me. But what is it that we envision that we have this depth of commercial there? Because that is rather deep unless we're getting another supermarket there. What was the idea behind our design for this?
Madam President, Councilor Williams, so the community center is more of a mixed-use place type, so it does encourage both commercial and residential. The zone just currently happens to be C2. So with that, commercial uses specifically called out, it does talk about kind of commercial retail, professional office, any of those things as primary uses. I don't know if the director wants to touch on that at all, but it doesn't call out specific uses necessarily, more of just a medium intense commercial area.
So this wouldn't be a comp plan amendment if we did allow for a zone change?
Madam President and Councilor Williams, that's correct. It would not be a comp plan amendment. It would just be a rezone to change the zone of a portion of the site that they're requesting. And both of those zones, C2, what it currently is, and R2, what they're wanting a portion of it to be changed to, are both compatible with the comp plan and what the community center calls out.
Thank you.
Councilor Dittenber.
Madam President, Katie, so I want to chat a little bit about the hearing officer's report. So the hearing officer recommended denial because of the transition between the commercial and the residential. And so there was no concern about the transition on the south side between the existing residential and the proposed residential, only between the commercial in the residential?
Madam President, Councilor Dittenber, it actually was the southern lots. So those lots were each 10 feet less wide along that southern boundary, and that was the concern there. Based on what she expressed, it seemed that she wanted those to be modified to be bigger lots, slightly more compatible with the existing residential to the south. And so that is why the applicant increased those lots quite a bit.
Councilor Slavic.
Thank you, Madam President. Katie, was there any concern about two-story versus one-story at all by the hearing examiner?
Madam President, Councilor Static, not that I can recall, no specific discussion from the hearing examiner. There was public testimony making comments about single-story rather than the two-story. So there was the public testimony portion of that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I have a couple of questions. So if I remember correctly, the property next door also tried to rezone, and we denied it. And that was also a rezone from commercial to residential, correct?
Madam President, that is correct. It was multiplex use rather than single-family. That was the main difference for that development over there.
Okay. And then, just so I'm clear on how it all works again, the R2 would allow multifamily there?
Madam Hearing Examiner, they would have to come back. Sorry, Madam President, I apologize. Can you tell I'm used to
Counselors is great.
Can you tell I'm used to it? I apologize. They would have to come back before council. Since there's a development agreement, it will solidify these land uses for this site here.
Okay.
So they wouldn't necessarily be able to change it without coming back.
So that's my concern. So we've seen it before where a lot will get rezoned and then sold, and then somebody else comes in and says, oh, now we're going to do this. So that's what I'm trying to avoid, is whatever this is that we're not going to know about, and then it's an automatic use at that point. So when I look at this neighborhood, I'm very familiar with it. I do think sometimes about what kind of commercial would go in there and how that would benefit the properties behind. Because if it is a drive-through, or it is something that's very noisy, or something that isn't, conducive to what that area wants to be like, we don't have any control to stop that, right? So I guess my other question is it possible to then, on those homes that are going to be just north of Cumberland, can they be limited to single story in that strip by the?
Madam President, yes, through the development agreement, you'd be able to limit those to single story on that southern boundary.
Okay, and so then the approval would be for commercial in the front, residential in the back, single story closest to the Cumberland subdivision, and then if anybody wanted to come back and do anything but that, they would have to come in for a new approval. It would not be an automatic use to change to multifamily or anything along those lines.
Madam President, that is correct. Development agreements, we can't change administratively. They can't just decide to change it to another permitted use or anything. They would have to come back before you for a development agreement modification.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think that's it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we will open up the public hearing for anybody that signed up to testify, and they will have 3 minutes. And again, please start off by giving your name and address for the record. Also, there's a note in here to remind everyone that this is a respectful public forum. We will now not allow applause, booing, cheering, or inappropriate behavior at tonight's meeting. Anyone who does that will be gavelled out of order. I don't know if you saw the bet going on Facebook, and I've not used it once, so I am going to keep track. So please don't make me do it. All right, so we do have a sign-in sheet here. We have one person in favor who's chosen not to speak. Do I still read the name for the record? Okay. So Holly Chetwood, it looks like, out of Boise, is in favor but does not want to provide public testimony. And then our folks that want to stay neutral and have chosen to speak, Laura Shannon.
My name is Laura Shannon. I live at 4707 Middlesboro Way. Good evening, Madam President and City Council members. The hearing examiner turned this proposal down because it left no transitional buffer to the existing Cumberland development. And I attended that meeting. I don't think she really designated what she meant by that, but just that it didn't match what was there currently. As drawn, each house on Cumberland's northern boundary would have 2 new homes behind it, not entire homes, but portions of 2 homes behind it. And these structures are slated to have a 15-foot setback from the property line. Please consider restricting those new builds along the development's boundary to single-story structures with heights similar to those of existing homes. On page 36 of Caldwell's comprehensive plan, much of Ustick is designated as a, quote, low to mid-intensity commercial place type that focuses on creating a destination for residents, unquote. In reality, existing and future housing is planned for Ustick with very little commercial development to service that housing. And as far as that area being community center place type, I'm a little confused on what control the city or the community actually has on what goes in there, because they state that in the comp plan that that is an area that's supposed to be a destination for residents. And so if you put a car wash in that area, I'm not sure how that would align with what the comprehensive plan says for that area. Caldwell needs commercial development, and while our neighborhood would welcome a residential buffer, the land in question was earmarked for commercial use under the Nancolis administration. It is ideally located for accessibility near the corner of 2 key corridors, and it's one of the last available parcels for such use in the midst of several established and upcoming neighborhoods. Please do what you're able to prioritize the commercial use of this area. It seems the pattern for developers is to build the residential portions of their projects first and then leave a weed patch where commercial uses were promised. If this project moves forward, would it be possible to require that the commercial parts of it be landscaped and built first? And finally, I'm not seeing much parking on the plan. Please ensure that there is adequate parking so stray cars don't spill over to area streets and neighborhoods and lots intended for future commercial use. Thank you for your time and consideration.
I don't know if one of you wants to answer that. Can it be set where the landscaping of the commercial is first?
Madam President, that could be conditioned that within the first phase of development, the street buffers be constructed.
So we could say that they have to have single story in the back and they would have to do the landscape buffers first.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we have Susan Kroll and David Kroll who signed up, and only David will be coming to speak.
Good evening, Madam President and Councilor. David Kroll, 4521 Pine Mountain Avenue. I live approximately 1,000 feet southerly of the southerly property line of the area proposed for the rezoning and the development agreement. I spoke at the February 24th hearing and asked that the development be conditioned for single-story detached houses along the southerly boundary to provide that buffer. Since then, the developer has provided wider lots. I've also rethought that some, that the developer, and something the developer expressed after the hearing was the possible difficulty in marketability if they were to build just single-story houses on a smaller lot. The Cumberland Estate lots are a lot larger. The other thing in Cumberland Estates, all of the houses are single-story. There are a few houses with what I'll refer to as a bonus room. It's generally an office. There is a window for that bonus room, but it does face the street, so that none of the bonus room windows are on a side or a back wall, so that it provides a level of privacy for the adjoining property owners. What I'm asking this council to consider for the Ambrosia are 3 restrictions to be included in the development agreement and on the preliminary plat for the properties along the southerly boundary, generally identified as Block 4, lots 1 through 17. Those conditions being that the housing is restricted to detached single family, the houses be a maximum of 2 stories, and that any windows on the 2nd story or floor be restricted to the northerly face of the house. Those restrictions would provide a level of privacy to the existing Cumberland residences that back up to the southerly boundary of Ambrosia that is substantially comparable to that enjoyed by the balance of the subdivision now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And Linda Davis.
Hello, my name is Linda Davis, and I live at 4413 Pinnacle Place, and we are in the first cul-de-sac that faces Appalachian, so we would face and see most of this building that's going to go on. And so my main concern was living in that particular area, and we're going to be seeing this, I would like to see single stories. And the highlights of the subdivision were very well laid out. I didn't mind them at all. In fact, I now remain neutral, but I am more for it than against it. And this type of subdivision looked very nice with the proposals if they were to keep it as single story that borders our fence line. And that to me is very important because nobody wants to look down into somebody else's property, and the person facing them doesn't want to either. And to note on the commercial, I would like to see what they're proposing for the commercial, because we desperately need commercial there, but we need things such as coffee shops, banking, small places to eat, even yoga or exercise areas that are more of a based onto a learning center. Even a daycare center would be excellent in that area. There's just not enough daycare around. Also, doctor's offices, immediate quick care, and senior care. These are things that seem to be so important in our community. And our subdivision remains beautiful, and I'd like to see it be kept that way, and also anything that borders it to be kept that way. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So we do have a list of people that are opposed to this project, and not everybody has requested to speak, so I'll just read through those names. Sue Cushlin is against, but not going to speak. Jean Kreidbring, against, not going to speak. Sherry Marscola, against, but not speaking. Ray Marscola, against, not speaking. And then we have Christine, I believe that's McLean or Lane? I don't know if she's there. Against, but will not be speaking. But we do have Paul McLean that is signed up to speak.
Thank you, Madam President, council members. My name is Paul McLean. I live at 113 Appalachian Street. We bought back in 19. We officially moved here in 24, but we've been out here many, many times. So my backyard looks right into this property. And we knew it was going to be designed for commercial. We were prepared for that. And a lot of people were. One thing I've been hearing repeatedly through this whole process is, don't want this, but if and or it goes in, we want these concessions. The thing also I keep hearing is it's too deep for commercial, and yet right across the street is Walgreens. It's the same depth for that and even Soterra. Commercial is what we need out there. I mean, except for Walgreens and a gas station, it's sort of a desert of commercial. And with the additional, what I understand, over 2,000 homes being built just south of us, that's 4,000 at least cars, anywhere from 6,000 to 8,000 more people are going to be in that whole area. That's a lot of traffic, but that's the need for commercial. It's just what we really need. My backyard actually slopes down. City code I'm not fair with. My 6-foot fence is going to be looking right into those people's backyards. I'm worried that they're going to raise the soil up to put in homes there because that's what they did over at Soterra. That means my 6-foot fence now becomes a 4-foot fence or whatever. But we really need commercial out there. So, with everything said.
Councilor Allgood.
Yes, sir, and I totally understand where you're coming from. My concern is, and I'd just like you to give me your opinion, if a Wendy's that's open till 1 a.m. goes there with a drive-through, how does that affect your life? I mean, I'm just trying to understand what you think on that.
I knew it was going to be commercial, and an easy thing to do is along the backside of Appalachian is you don't put you're going to put parking there, then you have commercial, then you have access to the commercial behind that with commercial on the other side. Okay? Mm-hmm. And if there was going to be that typical thing like Walgreens, which is, Walmart on the other side, they have all the way back, that's where the trucks go, and there's apartments right behind them. They're dealing with it. They have a rather like a 10, 20, 15-foot buffer of trees and plants. Fine with me, okay? Mm-hmm. If I have 2 homes behind me, who's going to be in those homes? I don't know who's going to be there. What are they going to do in those homes? Okay, I personally just would rather have commercial, okay? And with what is being said, even if you approve this, I mean, you have to put so many conditions on this to say, okay, you can only have single-family homes. We don't know who's going to build it. They're not going to build it. I don't even know who's going to build the commercial. Sounds like nobody knows really who's going to do anything other than let's go ahead and plan this to be homes and plan that to be commercial, and then we'll figure out what's going to happen later. This sounds, and then I also was quite upset when at the last meeting, the representative actually came to you and said, well, I know the people living over here in Appalachian don't want to have commercial because of the noise. I'm going, you're telling me what I want? No. Okay, that was, to me, it just, I got quite upset with him telling me what I would like. So, thank you.
Thank you. Kelly Powell or Jean Powell?
I've already answered my question.
Okay. Okay, so then the rest of everybody who's signed up are against the project but not signed up to speak, and that's Bob and Jean Birch, Bruce Davis, Donna Mostad, and Christopher Mostad. So I believe we've gone through all of the public testimony list. Get back to my cheat sheet here. Okay, since we've completed the public hearing, I will declare the hearing closed and the council can discuss the application before making motions and votings. So now we hear council comments on the application. Councilor Stein.
Thank you, Madam President. I would just like, got another question for the builder, if he doesn't mind coming up.
Actually, Madam President, do we get a rebuttal period at all?
Yeah, I'm sorry,
I'll wait for that rebuttal period.
yeah, I apologize. I don't have that here, but you are right.
No problem. I appreciate at least giving us a few minutes here to kind of address some concerns that have come up. I guess it's come up a couple times. about can this remain or will it remain single-family lots? I think Katie's addressed it, we've addressed it. With the plat, with the development agreement, it does remain that unless somebody comes back and changes that, and then it comes back before council again at that time. With that, we are strongly against limiting single-family homes back there. I mean, you guys can do what you guys feel is necessary, but we're strongly against the single-family homes. I will say in a C2 zone that a mixed-use, a live-work home isn't an outright allowed use as well. That could also go up to 30 feet per current zoning standards. We are commercial developers with that. We've developed hundreds of thousands of square feet of commercial land. So we will be doing the developing on the front portion of that development there. We have some interest on the front of that commercial area. We do have interest from a financial institution at this point. The rest of it is still open on who will be coming in. There will be a multi-tenant building, which again allows for some of that mixed-use stuff going on with, the small restaurant, the insurance sales, those type of guys in those multi-tenant buildings. Just one more quick thing. They've mentioned that this is deep enough for another retail center. Again, that retail center has been built. It's Walmart built. They got there first. There's no one that's going to go head-to-head with Walmart and build another 80,000 square foot building or 110,000 square foot building there. So again, we're trying to get stuff that will work there and will work for the community in that area. And we will stand for any questions.
Could you clarify for me? I think you meant to say you're adamantly against single story. You said you're adamantly against single family. Could you?
Madam President, I'm sorry, yes. We're adamantly against single story, not single family.
I thought that's what you meant.
Correct.
I wanted to give you a chance to correct that.
Thanks for correcting me there, yes.
And then you already answered this question, but you won't know what's going to be there until you sell it. So potentially you'll build something out, but you're not going to know who your tenant is going to be, or will you wait to build out until you have someone to occupy?
Madam President, Councilman Williams, are you referring to the commercial area?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so there's a couple ways to build things. There's spec, which isn't, typically you try and have a few tenants in your building so you can at least have some income coming in when you build. That's typically what we wait for, is we wait for a couple tenants to come in and then we build after that. Do we know what those tenants are yet? No, we don't. We're doing a couple retail buildings in Star right now, same development, same crew. It's got a sandwich shop. It's got, we looked at a vet going in there. It's looked at another kind of a golf place, stuff like that, where it's neighborhood stuff, local people coming there, being in the neighborhood, providing services there.
Thank you. No, me. Oh, stop it. So I'm looking at your landscape. Yeah, basically your overall landscape plan, just to give area numbers. So if you want to look at that. Your commercial areas you have broken up into 1, 2, 3, and 5. Other than 2, which has an access in off of U-Stick, everything else is accessing from within the residential area, correct?
Sorry, give me one second to get there.
Because I didn't see any other accesses off the outside roads, other than maybe coming in from Walgreens, from Area 4.
So
this is the only one with areas on it, so it kind of gives you an idea of where it is I'm looking. So that's why I was asking.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Madam President, and I appreciate it, Councilman. Access, as Haley has spoken, is going to be limited, right?
Right.
So it'll be on Kimball on the west. That's automatically determined.
Well, no, that's into the subdivision. I'm talking about into your commercial.
Yeah, so we're proposing a right-in, right-out only along U-Stick.
Right.
And then there is a right-in, right-out south on 10th as well.
But basically what I'm saying is accessing any of this commercial is going to have to be accessed off of the residential roads, correct? Other than the one that I'm seeing dead center on U-Stick And the one coming in off of 10th at the south end, that's just accessing residential. You're then going to have to loop back into the commercial, correct?
Madam President, Councilman, I will differ there a little bit with you. Kimball is a road that accesses, there's commercial zone on the west, right? So you're accessing that to get to commercial. You have to come in Kimball all the way south before you get to Sortera.
Correct.
So you'll go into this and then you'll turn in, head to the north to go to the commercial. South will get you to the residential area
But
as
you
well.
have, what I'm trying to say is on that road, you have commercial, so off, Marty Street is basically what you're accessing most of your commercial with, correct? So.
You are correct, yeah.
But
The northern portion of that is accessing, correct.
And what I'm trying to
accesses
say
both.
is that's a residential street.
Yeah, it's built to commercial standards, correct.
Correct, but it's going to be both.
Correct, yeah.
So basically, you're using the interior streets to access all of your commercial, is what I'm saying.
That's correct.
Okay. That's it.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a few questions here. You don't have any idea who's gonna, if you do just commercial, you don't have any idea who's gonna do the family dwellings in, is that correct?
Madam President, Councilman Static, is that
Static.
correct? Yeah, I do not know. We don't know at this point who is going to build those out. Could be any one of numerous people who purchase it, yeah.
But would you be the pivotal point as far as who does get in there to build, or is that gonna be decided by somebody else?
Would I be the pivotal point?
Yeah,
My developer would be the person who chooses, whoever he sells it to would go to build it, correct?
okay. In the spirit of being friendly neighbors, a compromise would be to still build the single-family dwellings, maybe have a bonus room on the second floor facing the street. Have you considered that at all, rather than facing the southern part of the subdivision?
We've not really looked at floor plans per se on here. We've just looked at building areas and what you could build there. Again, it comes down to marketability and what that developer or what that home builder wants to put on there. I will say a 40-foot wide lot, single-family home isn't going to work. A single-story home isn't going to work.
Because from what standpoint won't it work?
On a 40-wide foot lot, you get about a 30-foot wide home. You get about one bedroom and a garage, and then a kitchen, right? So you need the two-story to have the bedrooms. On a 50 wide, it's a little easier to get it. I wouldn't call it easier, a little more availability to have a single story, right? But again, if you want something with more than a couple bedrooms, you're gonna need that second story.
Okay, but you can understand why you wouldn't want somebody looking down in your backyard, can't you?
Well, actually, I beg to differ. Residential to residential, if I'm a two-story to a one-story, I don't know how that really is a big difference. I've heard this council speak to it actually before. To me, if it's residential to residential and I'm not over a height limit, then I think it's a coexisting use, right? And so if I happen to have bedrooms on my second story and you happen to be a single story that lives next to me, I've lived in neighborhoods like that, right? It doesn't really bother me.
Well, I'm specifically talking about when the rear end butt ends against each other, the homes. One's a single family, the other's a two-story family home. And the two-story can look down into single-family homes' backyard, essentially.
Sure, but again, I don't see how that makes, what's going on in their backyards that people can't see.
It's called privacy.
So,
It's called privacy. I'm not sure you would enjoy that, but maybe you're different than anybody else. But I think that's some of the concern that these folks have, is people looking down in their backyards.
And I understand it, right? We get it. We get it, but again, we're trying to make affordable housing. People can't purchase, up and coming, young or people who are up and coming, they can't purchase a half-acre lot anymore, right? It just isn't going to happen. Prices have gone too high. Again, these are more affordable housing. This is where those who need a home are going to go. So.
Okay, well, so much for the good neighbor, but I wanted to, Mrs. Davis, I think it was, that addressed this daycare. I wanted to remind you that there is a daycare center that was just built on South Kimball about what, a mile or half a mile from where you're at, and I don't think they're fully, that's the last I heard. The last thing I wanted to mention is, what I didn't like to hear from you is that, by gosh, if you're going with this plan, we're gonna build a 30-foot high commercial building and put it there and see what you think about that. That's not being very friendly either, as far as being a good neighbor.
Yeah, Madam President, yeah, that is not our intention, right? We're just telling you what could be built there,
Yeah,
right?
but you
So
did mention that.
if this doesn't go, I'm not saying our developer's gonna still be here, right? Like, if we leave, someone else could come in and do whatever's allowed per code, right? And so I'm just informing the residents, this is what can go here with really not even coming back to council, right?
Yeah,
I could build a car wash 10
I just
feet
assumed the
off their
tone of your
property.
reply was,
So-
by gosh, if you don't agree with this, we're gonna build that 30-foot high building right in backyards, and that's gonna be it. So I guess that's not true.
That is not our intention, nor do I believe I said, by gosh, we're gonna build a 30-foot building in their backyard, so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so now we declare the public hearing to be closed, and the council can discuss the application before making motions and voting. Counselor Allgood.
Just discussion, it would, if I was a resident of Cumberland, I would really be against having a car wash or a Wendy's or something that goes, I mean, the car wash I go to is open till 7 PM and it's heavy traffic till 7 PM. I would be concerned about that kind of thing. I don't know, I'm just, when I hear that we would have no say in what kind of commercial goes there, that concerns me because there's a whole bunch of commercial, anything from a bar to, like I said, a drive-in restaurant or whatever. So that concerns me. I don't have a big preference, residential or commercial, except that it would concern me that I have no control over what goes 15 feet behind my house. Now, just putting that thought out there.
Counselor Static?
Thank you. I just wanted to comment a little bit on, I think it was Mr. Kroll that spoke about commercial and how much we needed. And with all the residential subdivisions we have going in, last I heard there was about 8,000 of them that we have approved but still haven't gone in yet. We definitely need commercial and industrial development to help offset that tax base for the homeowners themselves, because it's just getting too far out of whack. The last numbers I saw, 85% of the development was residential and only 15% commercial and industrial. That does not pay for your utilities, maintaining your streets and all that. So I agree with you, but like I say, it still has to be in the right place. So anyway, that's all I have, Madam.
Counselor Tomat?
Just a comment against Councilor Allgood. I do see that, and I see where you're coming from in that sense. I also agree with some of the residents. They bought knowing it would be commercial. That's what it was zoned for. Unfortunately, this is probably one of the bigger intersections in the city. I mean, 10th and Ustick is, we had the problem with the apartments that went in kitty corner from this. I think they were affectionately called the monopoly units that went in right there. That took out a big chunk of commercial that could have been used there. Yeah, just in that area, this is an intersection we could probably use a lot of commercial in. And even the depth, even if they did double row, we did deny the high-density apartments that came in. That was done last year, just next door to this. I think we should keep the same depth of commercial. Everybody coming in knows that that's what that was zoned for. So if they don't like the car wash, I mean, I get what you're saying, but just like one of the residents said, they bought knowing that. So just, that would be my only rebuttal to that in a conversation would be that, yeah, they kind of knew going in. So whereas the residential, they didn't.
No, and I don't disagree. And seriously, I'm not leaning one way or the other here. I just, like I said, I would be concerned if someone were to come build something that went till 10 o'clock at night or something where I had traffic going on across my fence at 10 o'clock at night, I wouldn't care for that if it were me.
So the only comments that I have, I guess, are, this is a hard one, because I think a lot of times we have people that come and speak that are very definitive about what they want, and this one's sort of giving options, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. I agree with Councilor Tillmont that this is a really great commercial area at 10th and Ustick. Ustick has had a lot of approvals over the years for apartments. We've given up a lot of that area to residential. And just like when we heard about the request to rezone the commercial, I guess it was west of the Walmart at Cleveland and Ustick, right? We had decided not to do that because we want to reserve that space for commercial. So I think we should be reserving the space for commercial since that's what it's supposed to be. In saying that, I would not support this project if we did not have a requirement for single story up against that fence line, period. I also see a benefit to having residential there because, like, the argument has been that it's less noisy and less, you know, all of that kind of thing. However, I also worry about putting residents there and then only having the one access to the commercial. So it sounds, there's just a lot of concerns with that too. In addition to that, we don't know what would go in this commercial. And so I think sometimes sometimes it feels like there's just this fear placed that if you don't do this, there's going to be a car wash there. If you don't do this, there's going to be, you know, something really scary and awful is going to go in there when we don't really know what it could be. It could be coffee shops or a little restaurant or whatever. So I'm worried about the same thing, but I'm trying not to get stuck there because we have already said no to the neighbor next to them, that we wouldn't rezone them to residential the way that they wanted it. We said no at Cleveland and Ustick to that area, that we wouldn't get rid of the commercial there. And then I go back to the fact that we just don't have a lot of area that hasn't already been designated on Ustick to hold that commercial. So that's where I sit with that. So if there's no comments, then I suppose we'll entertain a motion one way or the other.
Madam President, I got a couple comments, and then I'll go ahead and make the motion. I get to listen to my colleagues on the other side of the dais here, and they talk about the need for commercial, and I agree with that. I also believe that the perfect commercial building is something small, really compact, and it makes the city a lot of money. I haven't seen the perfect commercial building, ever. Never have I seen it. So what we have is we have an option, whether or not we want to follow property rights and say we're going to give a developer the right to develop a property, even if it doesn't come with something perfect. Doesn't mean we have to deny it because it's not the perfect project. I think we have an obligation to say, even though this isn't the perfect project, it still does meet the needs of the master plan. It still does meet the comp plan. It still is a legal project, and so I would hope that we would move forward. So, I'm going to make the motion here to approve it, and I'll let the city council either second it or not second it. But my motion would be based upon Caldwell City Code, the comprehensive plan, and upon testimony given and the evidence recorded and the facts presented and the applicable city code approval criteria, that the proposed plan is consistent with the comprehensive plan. The proposed plan is consistent with the purposes of the proposed zoning. The proposed plan does not significantly cause a significant adverse impact to the community, and the plan does have adequate public facilities. I vote that we approve it based upon conditions that street buffers are completed with Phase 1 of the project, and that 50% of the properties on the south side be single-story.
Is there a second?
I'm confused by that last one. 50% of the properties?
On the south side be single-story?
So the other 50% could be two-story.
Do we have a second for that motion?
Madam Chairman, I'd like to have some clarification on the 50%. All that property on the south side would be single-story, or just 50% of that?
Just 50% of them, but you can change the motion if you want to amend the motion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so do we have a second for the motion by Councilor Denver? Okay, seeing no second, does that just make the motion die? Okay. Any other motions?
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, Madam President. I would make a similar motion, except that all homes on the south side would be single-story. The other thing being, you know, the same landscaping as what Councilor Dittenber described, and that any changes to this plan come back to council if it's not exactly as what was presented this evening.
Second.
Madam President,
Yes.
can I just clarify what it was for the landscaping for the condition?
Yes, please.
That the landscaping be done first.
Oh, okay, got it, the buffers.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Councilor Williams?
Thank you, President. I have a question for staff now with this on the floor. If this builder has said that they essentially can't build a home that is single-story on that unless it's a two-bedroom or three-bedroom. I don't even know what could be built on a lot this size. If we approve this motion, but so we'll be approving the plat as well. So my concern is, if this developer decides to walk away because they can't build single-story homes on the south side, will the next developer that buys this property be stuck with that as well? And could this developer have the option, rather than us locking into something that is probably not commercially tenable, could they walk away without us having to go forward, or how does this work? I'm understanding all the argument, but I'm also understanding from a market standpoint, you can't build a single-story home on a lot this size, and number one, it'd have the rooms that people need, or number two, it'd be marketable. So my question is procedural here. What goes next if this is approved?
Madam President and Councilman Williams, it would be, the condition becomes part of the development agreement. And so that development agreement will go against the land, so it'll be against any future owner as well of that land. So they will be stuck with that condition unless they want to apply for a development agreement modification, and then they would have to come back before council to make any changes.
Thank you, and I think for that reason alone, I'm leaning towards a no on this motion.
Any other discussion? Okay, and the only thing that I want to say is I appreciate the motion with the condition in the back. I think that that's really important. However, I do still feel like we should not be giving away this area of commercials on that side of town. We really do need the commercial there. So if there's no more discussion, then we will call for a vote.
All good?
Yes.
Dittenber?
Yes.
Tillmont?
No.
Static?
Yes.
Register?
No,
Williams?
No.
I lost count. So it was 4-2.
So
Or it was
it is
3-3.
a 3-3 vote. There is not a mayor present this evening to cast the deciding vote. This project will be continued to the May 4th meeting for a final vote with the potential for a tiebreaker.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Matt, I think I'm getting feedback over from the, I just want to let the council know that motion for approval has not passed. That doesn't mean that the council tonight couldn't take up other motions on an approval. Right? It's not a single vote. If there was a modification or something the council wanted to work out with present what you have, you can still do that. You don't just have to wait until for a continuance, if that makes sense.
Are there any other motions or discussion?
Yeah.
Okay, looks like we're moving on.
Then I think procedurally, just so that we have the date, I think a motion for a continuance to a date certain would be appropriate.
So moved.
I'll second it.
So I think that's for May 4th, since it sounds like
Okay.
I'm making the motion.
So a motion for continuance with a second to a date certain of May 4th. Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. So that passes.
I have a technical question, though.
Yes.
Will the mayor need to rehear all the testimony, or how does he catch up to speed to be a voting party?
So the mayor should be able to have a chance to review the record and the proceedings that have been recorded. There would also be an opportunity if the council wishes to reopen the public record and hear more testimony at that point.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we'd like to take a quick break before we move forward. So we'll come back just a couple minutes after 8 o'clock. Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order. Looks like everybody's back. All right, so we're going to move on to new business, and the next item on the agenda is an action item. And it is a public hearing for case number SPP 25000010, ZON 26000002. The applicant, Jordan Morehouse, on behalf of SM4 LLC, is requesting approval of a rezone for a portion of a parcel from R1 to C1. The parcel currently has a split zone, and the applicant would like to ensure that the entire parcel is zoned C1 as it was intended when the lot was designated a commercial lot within the original Shadow Glen subdivision. Concurrently, the applicant is requesting approval of a preliminary plat application for Shadow Glen Commercial Subdivision, a commercial subdivision with 4 buildable lots. The 1.52 acre parcel is located on the west side of Middleton Road, approximately 260 feet north of the intersection with Linden in Caldwell. The application was recommended for approval by the hearing examiner on Tuesday, March 24th. This is a quasi-judicial public hearing, and it is essential to follow the process as stated before. So first, we will hear from the applicant or their representative, who will have 10 minutes to speak.
Madam President, council members, thank you for this opportunity. Like I said, in our proposal, we are looking to change the split zoning, the portion that is R1 of this lot, into just C1, so the entire 1.52 acres is C1, and also propose that we our preliminary plat of 4 separate commercial lots for this. We have found in our market that 3,000 to 4,000 square foot small commercial building that prints a lot of money for the city of Caldwell is a high market right now, and so that's what we're looking for. We also find that this 3,000 to 4,000 square foot rough building is good for owner-occupied market, and we feel like it serves a community well with a professional office space. And so, pretty simple proposal. At this time, I guess I'll take any questions on what we're looking to do here.
Councilor Stoddick, do you have any questions?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Actually, I do.
Councilor Templin.
Just a real quick question. So basically, you can sell the bigger lots instead of the smaller commercial lots, correct? That's what's more desirable. You're just looking to increase the size of your commercial lots, right? And get rid of the residential that is split up so that you can make the lots larger, correct?
Madam President and Councilmember Tillman.
Yeah.
So it's a split zoning right now, so really it's the use, and I'm sure and I apologize, I didn't bring a PowerPoint or anything like that, but the use as it is zoned currently is really difficult to lay out commercial. I think when we originally purchased the property, we were expecting it to be C1 all the way through, and then we were late in getting our application in, and then we realized that the city council code had changed, and all of a sudden our split zoning was in effect. And so it's not that we're trying to make a bigger commercial lot for bigger commercial buildings. Essentially, we're trying to, with the split, we're trying to make smaller commercial buildings. Like I said, that prints more money for the city of Caldwell. So that's the proposal, not a bigger commercial building. Okay. I hope that clarifies what I'm saying.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Councilor, all good?
So you're doing exactly what the last developer wanted to do opposite.
When we hear advice, we're going to take it, yes, yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Councilor Dittenberg.
Thank you. My question is this is a rezone from R2 to C2, correct?
Madam President, Councilmember Dettenberg, no, this is R1 to C1.
R1 to C1. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
And it's just a portion of the lot.
Okay, I think that's it for questions. So we will go ahead and hear the staff report.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the council, Morgan Besaw, Planning and Zoning. The application in front of you this evening for Shadow Glen Commercial Subdivision is for a rezone and a preliminary plat with a partial rezone from R1 to C1, neighborhood commercial, as well as a re-subdivision of the commercial lot within Shadow Glen subdivision from one single commercial parcel into 4 separate commercial lots. The site is 1.52 acres, and it is located on Shadow Glen Drive at the corner of Shadow Glen Drive and Middleton Road, as identified in the map. The parcel is currently split zoned. You can see on the image on the right that it's partially yellow, which is the C1 neighborhood commercial, as well as the light green on the left, which is the R1 neighborhood residential. The lot became split zone when it came through from a preliminary plat. They had the zoning that you see there. When they came through her final plat, they made that commercial lot a little bit bigger and did not require a rezone at that time. And so really the rezone right now to make the lot all C1 is just a little bit of cleanup to have it match the final plat that was approved by council in the past. Because code does not allow split zoned lots, the fact that this lot is split zoned and we're dividing it into 4 parcels, we can't create 4 new split zone parcels. So just a little cleanup to make sure that when they have their commercial plat over this, that they're all zoned C1. It's not changing the use. The intent of that lot has always been to be entirely commercial since Shadow Glen was originally platted. The property is surrounded on 3 sides by residential subdivisions as well as large parcel with ag and residential development. Within the comprehensive plan, this is identified as Neighborhood 2, which is primarily residential in nature, but does allow some low-intensity neighborhood-level commercial uses, which is all that the applicant is proposing at this time. On the screen in front of you is the subdivision layout. You can see it's simply taking the existing commercial parcel and dividing it into 4 separate lots. So instead of having 1 commercial owner, they can have 4 separate commercial owners on these parcels. Access will be off of Shadow Glen Drive, which is a local road. And due to the size and scope of the development, a traffic impact study was not required. Attached is the review of the project compliance with city code. As conditioned, the application is compliant with all relevant city codes. All utilities are available or will be made available to the site. No public comments were received, and ITD had no comments or concerns at this time. And on March 24th, the hearing examiner recommended approval of the requested application. And staff has found that the project is in compliance with city code and approval criteria, the comprehensive plan, and we do not have any concerns at this time. And that is all I have for you this evening.
Councilor Allgood.
Morgan, just to make sure, changing this to 4 lots in C1 would not allow for multifamily, correct?
No, that is correct. Multifamily is not allowed in the C1 zone.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. Okay, so we do have a sign-up sheet. We have 1 person in favor. That's William Mason. You don't need to testify. Okay. Well, that was it. We don't have anybody else signed up to speak. So we will bring the applicant back.
Is this like final remarks?
What's that?
Is this final remarks or final question?
Yep, your
Final statement.
Yep, your final statement, and then council will have any questions, and then if they don't have any, then we'll move to discussion.
Like I said before, this is something that we feel is good for the community. You know, most of our buildings that we build are owner occupied, meaning that this is something that we build and then people are buying these commercial buildings and occupying them for neighborhood office space. And so we feel like it's a great use for the community and hope to earn your approval. Thank you.
Any questions?
If he's coming back up.
Counselor Tillman?
Just one real quick then. You're primarily going to be using these for basically office space, correct?
Madam President, Councilor Tillman, that is correct. Either some type of medical or, neighborhood office, light office is
Yeah,
what we
some kind of
describe it. Yeah.
professional office use,
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, so since we have completed the public hearing, I will declare the hearing closed and the council can discuss the application before making motions and voting. Any comments or discussion or, I'm sorry, Councilor Williams.
I'm prepared to make a motion based upon Caldwell City Code, the comprehensive plan, upon the testimony, evidence, and record, the facts presented, and the applicable city code approval criteria. I move that the proposed rezone from R1 to C1, is that correct, Madam Clerk? R1 to C1? Thank you. Be approved, subject to the conditions as presented and modified.
Second.
All right, so it has been moved by Councilor Williams, seconded by Councilor Tillman, to approve the motion, or to approve the project. Sorry, the council can now cast their votes. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there any further discussion?
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Tillman?
Yes.
Counselor Stodic?
Yes.
Counselor Register?
Yes.
Counselor Allgood?
Yes.
Counselor Dittenber?
Yes.
Okay, so that motion passes. So the next item on the agenda is an action item and a public hearing for case number ANN 250011, SPP 250015, ZON 2500007. And the applicant Bailey Engineering on behalf of HBU Investments LLC and the Rama Group.
Madam President?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I think we still need to do new business item number 2 and approve the ordinance.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Let me grab the other.
Madam President.
Councilor Tillman.
Oh, I don't have my glasses. I will adopt Bill number 3, ordinance 3737, associated with ZON 26-02, with a request for it to be moved for its passage by title and approved for summary publication.
Second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. And is it a roll call vote?
Yeah. Tillman?
Yes.
Stodic?
Yes.
Register?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Allgood?
Yes.
Dittenber?
Yes.
Okay, so that passes. And so now we're moving on to whatever I just said. And that they are requesting an annexation of parcel with zoning designation of R2, a rezone of parcel from RS2 to R2, where both parcels are identified as neighborhood 2 in the comprehensive plan and R2 is a compatible zoning designation. Concurrently, the applicant is requesting approval of a preliminary plat for Westbuilt Estates subdivision, a single-family residential subdivision with 194 buildable lots. The 65.83 acre development is located on the west side of Lake Avenue at the intersection with Cirrus Drive, approximately 1,700 feet south of Carter Road in Caldwell. The application was recommended for approval by Planning and Zoning Commission on Wednesday, March 11th, 2026. So we will hear from the applicant, and they will have 10 minutes.
Madam President, members of the council, hello and good evening. For the record, my name is Sabrina Durchie, and I am here on behalf of the applicant. My business address is 5179 South Boven Avenue, Boise, Idaho. Get a little closer. 83716. And this evening, I have the honor and privilege to presenting to you our applications for Westbuilt Estates. So, first, let me begin by welcoming you to Westbuilt Estates. This community has been thoughtfully designed as a high-quality residential development that blends refined living, elevated modern comfort, and strong neighborhood connections. Here you can see the main entrance into Westbuilt Estates, which features stone monument signage, a landscape median, and layered plantings that create a welcoming boulevard-style entry. Nestled along our future roundabout, our design emphasizes natural materials, strong landscaping to establish a clear identity and sense of arrival for our community. The vision for this project is to create a place where families and individuals can feel at home while enjoying access to meaningful community spaces and amenities. The goal is to develop a neighborhood that feels both sophisticated and comfortable while fitting naturally within the surrounding area. With Westbuilt Estates, we're requesting annexation, a zoning of R2, and a preliminary plat for 194 single-family lots and 33 common lots. Our net density will be 2.95 units per acre, with our residential lot sizes ranging from 6,000 square feet up to 12,700. With the newly adopted Comprehensive Plan and Zoning Code, this area has been designated as Neighborhood 2. The goal for Neighborhood 2 is to serve areas near major centers and activity hubs. Given the site's close proximity to the rapidly expanding Highway 55 and its growing concentration of commercial and employment centers, Westbuilt Estates will maintain a critical need for residential housing in this key area of Caldwell. The community will offer a well-balanced array of mid-density housing options that complements the city's long-term comprehensive plan goals. A portion of the site is already annexed into the city of Caldwell under an older residential zoning designation. Within the site, you can see in the lighter cream area that this portion is in the county. To create a more cohesive and unified development pattern across the property, the applicant is requesting an annexation of the remaining portion of the site, along with a rezone of R2 for the entire subdivision boundary. So, to better understand how the site fits into the broader area, let's take a look at the surrounding context in detail. To the north is the Charles development, which is planned to include commercial uses, a future City of Caldwell fire station, and 3 to 4 story apartment buildings. To the east is Peregrine Estates. This is a multi-phase, single-family subdivision with several phases already built or currently under construction, with Lakeview Elementary School also being located east of the site. To the south, we have properties that remain in unincorporated county parcels. And to the west, we have Cedar Crossing, a fully built-out single-family residential subdivision. With a diverse established land use, Westbuilt Estates is designed to provide an appropriate transition within the evolving area while maintaining compatibility with the surrounding development. This slide highlights the importance of thoughtful site design and how the project transitions to the adjacent developments to the north, east, and west. We intentionally designed the lots along the perimeter to align with and complement the existing development patterns for those existing neighborhood communities. The site will be constructed within 5 phases. Construction timing will be determined based on market conditions. However, we are estimating phase 1 construction to start early of spring 2027, with home occupancies anticipated early winter of 2027 or in 2028. Each phase we anticipate being developed yearly, with overall development being completed in 2032 to 2033. Now, I would like to introduce you to the applicant, Biltmore Company. Since 2009, Biltmore has been building beautifully crafted homes throughout the Treasure Valley. Owned and led by Kevin and Liz Amar, the company builds approximately 100 homes annually and is known for its thoughtful design, high-quality construction, and commitment to creating exceptional communities. Biltmore Company maintains an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and is widely recognized for exceptional craftsmanship and attention to detail. The company is particularly known for its in-house design services and outstanding customer service, earning its 2025 Boise's Best Customer Service Award among businesses in all of Treasure Valley. Biltmore Company has received many awards and accolades over the years. Most recently, they've earned the Boise Parade of Homes People's Choice Award in 2023, 2024, and 2025, and were recognized in 2025 as the Building Contractors Association of Southwestern Idaho Builder of the Year. These recognitions are well-deserved. As you can see, these examples, their home features beautiful exteriors and thoughtfully designed interiors, with each home carefully curated to prioritize both quality and livability. Biltmore Company will be one of the builder teams for this community. We understand and are sensitive to City Council's concerns that development must pay for itself. Based on analysis of current building permit impact fees and considering the proposed 194 residential homes, the estimated total impact fees generated by the project will be $1,593,000. Coordination has occurred with Joey Palmer of the Valley View School District, and the applicant has worked collaboratively with the district and entered into an agreement to provide contribution of $500 per lot. Additionally, the applicant has coordinated with Valley View School District and Hallie with the City of Caldwell regarding the location of a pedestrian crossing at the direction of Mr. Palmer, and the preferred location of this crossing is to be incorporated within the future roundabout, as depicted in this slide. In every community, usable space is a top priority, for it sets the foundations for our community's amenities, interconnectivity, and pathways that really make the community special. In Westbuilt, we have thoughtfully designed nearly 10 acres of qualified open space, which represents over 15% for the site. Pathway connectivity and walkability is also a priority within Westbuilt. Purple depicts our community sidewalks, orange depicts our micro pathways that fan out throughout the site, and red illustrates our 8-foot regional pathway that provides connection from the east to the west for this community. Westbuilt has been designed with 2 main central parks with several parks scattered around the site. Our first park will serve as the focal point for Westbuilt. Thoughtfully designed, this space encourages connection, activity, and outdoor engagement among residents of all ages. Key features include a community pool, playground, and picnic shelter. This park will be constructed in the first phase of the development, so these amenities can be enjoyed right away. In addition to the pool area, the park includes open space and a playground designed to give children a safe and engaging area to play. Walking paths connect the different areas of the park, allowing residents to move comfortably through the space and creating opportunities to gather, relax, and enjoy the outdoors. Here is a view of the beautiful pool that the residents will love to use. This pool will serve as a central amenity for Westbuilt, offering a place for residents to relax and enjoy the outdoors. The design includes lounge areas, seating, shaded gathering areas, and a pool house, creating a welcoming space for families and neighbors to connect. In addition to the primary amenity area, Westbuilt Estates will include a second neighborhood park designed to provide additional recreational opportunity spaces for the residents. This park features a pickleball court, picnic shelter, and walking paths, offering a place for both active recreation and, again, another chance to enjoy the outdoors. And finally, this pocket park in our northwestern corner is designed as a little more passive area, but is envisioned as a peaceful wildflower pollinator garden, providing residents with a tranquil sanctuary to connect with nature. And to summarize quickly, Westbuilt is a thoughtfully planned, quality community designed to offer a balanced blend of sophistication and modern livability. Situated near commercial and employment hubs, it provides a well-rounded selection of mid-density housing options to meet the needs of a growing population. It is designed to promote connectivity, quality of life with open space, and thoughtfully designed amenities and inviting gathering areas for residents. The neighborhood is carefully planned to create a vibrant and welcoming community for all families and residents to enjoy, and overall supports Caldwell's long-term vision for thoughtful growth, high-quality housing, and livable neighborhoods. With that, we'd like to thank staff for all their help and support throughout the process. And on that great note, I'd like to thank you all for the privilege of your time, your thoughtful consideration, and respectfully request an approval for this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Councilor Static.
Madam President, I've got a question for legal. I live on the western part of this project. Do I need to recuse myself?
So Councilor Stoddard, do you feel like you have any financial gain to be made if you participated in this? That will come out? Would you report it on your taxes?
Evans, no.
I think if you don't feel like there's a pecuniary for you or your family of some sort of benefit, or any of those sorts of things that you would have in a direct financial way. I mean, a project's always gonna increase probably everybody in Caldwell, but if you don't see a direct one-to-one relationship on that, it would seem to me that you don't have a conflict of interest.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you so much. So we will see from the staff report now.
Thank you, Madam President and council members. Katie Wright, Planner 3, 205 South 6th Avenue. Bailey Engineering, Inc., on behalf of HBU Investments LLC and Rama Group, is requesting annexation of parcel R328250120 with a zoning designation of R2 and a rezone of parcel R328250110 from RS2 to R2. The applicant's also requesting approval of a preliminary plat for Westbuilt Estates subdivision, a single-family residential subdivision with 194 buildable lots. The subject site is 66.25 acres located at 0 Lake Avenue, 1,800 feet south of Karcher on the west side of Lake Avenue. The subject parcel is currently being utilized as farmland. The property is surrounded by Cedar Crossing subdivision, single-family home development to the west, Peregrine Estates subdivision, single-family homes to the east, multifamily to the north as part of the Charles, and county farmland to the south. The northern parcel is located within the county and has no history within the city. The southern parcel was annexed into the city in 2007 with the initial zoning of RS2 and a planned unit development with a preliminary plat for 73 single-family residential lots, ANN 15607 and SUB/PUD 176P07. There was a development agreement associated with this approval, but it was never recorded, making it null and void. The previous approvals have expired and are no longer active, and that was for Cedar Crossing East. The applicant's requesting the northern parcel that is currently within the county be annexed into the city with the initial zoning of R2. This parcel is contiguous to the city limits. The applicant's requesting the southern parcel that is located within city limits to be rezoned from RS2 to R2. The applicant's proposing a single-family residential development which conforms with the purpose statement as specified within Caldwell City Code for R2 Community Residential Zone, which states that the zone is to provide areas that accommodate a larger variety of lot sizes and housing types. This includes single-family residential. The proposed density of 2.92 dwelling units per acre is compliant with city code, which allows from 2 to 8 dwelling units per acre. The subject parcel is located in the Neighborhood 2 place type within the comprehensive plan. Neighborhood 2 includes a variety of single-family and mid-density housing types. Commercial services are low to medium intensity and are generally only found at major intersections of arterial or collector roads. Primary land uses within this comprehensive plan land use designation are low and mid-density residential. The requested R2 zone is a compatible zoning district within the Neighborhood 2 place type. The preliminary plat request is for 194 single-family detached homes with 15.58% open space, which exceeds the code minimum of 10%. For clarification, north is the left of the screen. The development will take access off of Cedar Rapids Drive to the north. Sirius Drive will connect through the center of the development, going from Lake Avenue to the development to the west, from the development to the west, with connections to the streets existing in the development to the west. There's also a proposed stub street to the south and to the northeast to provide future connectivity if those parcels ever develop in the future. The applicant's also proposing an emergency access onto lake in the northeast of the development. A traffic impact study was required due to the number of lots. This development is in alignment with the Public Works CATS plan. It was not deemed that additional mitigations would be needed at this location. The proposed development meets all code requirements so long all recommended conditions of approval are met. All utilities are available or will be made available to serve the proposed single-family development. Political subdivisions, including school districts, were notified and provided opportunity to comment. Valley View School District commented, stating the lack of future capacity and stated the increased challenge to anticipate enrollment levels. There was a late exhibit provided that mentions the school district and the developer have a donor agreement in place. And public notices were sent to all property owners within 500-foot radius of the property, but staff received no public comments at this time. On March 11th, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the requested application. And staff's initial review found that the proposed project is in conformance with all applicable city codes as amended, all applicable approval criteria per city code and Idaho code, the adopted comp plan and future land use map, all other applicable city adopted master plans and city policies. And City Council has the authority to approve or deny applications based on the approval criteria within Caldwell City Code once they've reviewed the record and evidence and heard all public testimony. Staff does request that condition 3 be removed, as a similar condition is stated within the engineering memo that covers our concerns with a pedestrian crossing for the future across Lake Avenue. And thank you. I stand for questions.
Any questions for staff? Counselor Allgood?
Yeah, Katie, would you just remind us, they're wanting a change from RS2 to R2. What is that change? What does that give them or change?
Yes, Madam President, Councilor Allgood, so RS2 is more of a rural residential zone, so the lot sizes are significantly bigger. And it's not a compatible zone within the comp plan for what's called out for that location.
And then one more question. Is this all one parcel? I'm just wondering how half of it ended up in the city and half of it ended up in the county.
Yes, Madam President, Councilor Allgood, it is two separate parcels. So the northern parcel, sorry, Hannah, can I go back? The northern parcel is not within the city, and that's what they're requesting for annexation. So if you can see here, on the right side of the screen, the lower parcel in pink, that's already within the city. That one is zoned RS2, and the northern portion is not within the city yet, and they're requesting that to be annexed with R2.
So
They're two separate
the northern
parcels.
portion, even though it's closer to the city,
Yes,
is the outlier.
yes, correct.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So we have nobody signed up in favor and nobody signed up in neutral. We do have some people opposed. Am I out of order again?
Oh,
Okay,
I just want to make a comment.
go ahead.
In regard to legal's opinion, I think I still have to recuse myself because I do have some biases regarding the amount of children that will be at Valley View School District, which I'm a part of, and also the traffic, so. Good enough? Thank you.
Okay, so we will be opening up the public hearing, and you'll have 3 minutes. Again, please start off by giving us your name and address for the record. So opposed, Sue Cushlin, who has decided not to speak. Jean Kreidbring does not want to speak. Nancy Henry.
I'm Nancy Henry, and I'm at 13049 Agape Way, and it's Nampa there. I'm part of that existing triangle. I'm the one that's the closest to the canal, and my concern is that that is the hub of, it looks to me like from all the little parks and the crossways and the bridge that's going to have to go in, the most activity of the whole thing. And my biggest request is that the fences go in before any activity, moving ground, because it's, and the road that's going to be coming in onto Cirrus out of the subdivision is, if they drove through the fence, they'd be in my bedroom and living room, and it's really close. And I also asked that we have a area of property of a fence where we have a 3-rail fence behind us along the canal. And I know that they're going to put a fence on the other side of the canal, but I also know from living in those 2 parcels for 30-some years, that 4-wheelers and motorcycles are going to be a big problem with that many people, because a lot of them think that because they're moving out in the country kind of, that they can ride those canal banks, and they are private property to the middle of the canal. And I'm just really concerned about the noise and the dirt. I think it looks like a beautiful subdivision. I think they've really thought it through nicely, but they're taking away our peace and quiet, and the cleanliness, you know, without all the dirt and everything. But in a way, they're fixing some of that too, because farming is pretty dirty. But you know, that's my main concern, and that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, thank you for coming. George Wolter.
Good evening, Madam President, council members. My name is George Walter. I live at 13043 Agape Way, parcel number R328-25100. I understand that you're not going to be able to prevent progress, but I do have a couple concerns. One, that we don't get annexed into the city and leave our parcels in the county. And the second one is when they put Punch Cirrus all the way through, we also understand that Florida, which is the next street over, is going to be a right only coming onto Karcher if you're headed north. And so all that traffic now is going to come down Cirrus to Lake if they want to go up to Karcher to turn left or to go west. And so our curb cut is within 100 feet of where Cirrus is going to be punched through. And so given 194 new homes, 200, probably up to 400 cars, and with the development to the east, which is over by the elementary school, and all that traffic, I just have a concern of us being able to get out onto Lake. Given the traffic, I mean, when school is in session, traffic can back up from Karcher all the way back to Cirrus. And so I don't know if Lake is going to be expanded to have a center lane. I don't know if there's a traffic light being proposed at that intersection, given that all these children are going to be trying to cross the lake, which is 50 miles an hour, to go to school. These are just a couple of my concerns. And again, along with Nancy, which is my neighbor, phase 1 is where Cirrus will be punched through all the way to Florida. If the development could put a fence on our northern border, the vinyl 6-foot fence to help keep the dirt and noise down, would be much appreciated. And that's all I have, unless there's questions.
Councilor Williams.
Thank you for being here. I think we can answer a couple of them very quickly. He is not going to be annexed. He would have to choose to be annexed. So you don't have to worry about that. No one's going to force annex you into the city.
Thank you.
And number two, I understand your concern about Florida 55, but that's completely out of our control because that's an ITD project. But all the other things I know are taken into consideration with our engineering department. But I just wanted to mention that ITD project.
No, I understand.
We can't do anything about that, even if we wanted to. But
I understand, but
I appreciate
given
your
that,
comments.
it's going to rechannel
I understand.
traffic. And so I'm just kind of worried about us being so close to that intersection, trying to get, if we wanted to go north on Lake, we could be there half an hour, 45 minutes. I mean, it's going to force us to go right.
And we'll wait and see what the applicant says when she comes up for a rebuttal about the fence, because there's two of you now that have mentioned that, and maybe
Sure.
she's taking notes on that, so.
Sure.
But I do appreciate you being here.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
for your
Madam
time.
President,
Yes.
for clarification, the landscape plan does show they are proposing a 6-foot vinyl fence on the north of Agape Way.
Got it. And that's in phase 1?
I would have to clarify that. But if that's phase one, then that would be part of the construction.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so Jason Mahoney, but you choosing not to speak, so Kevin Amar.
Good evening, Madam President, council members. My name is Kevin Amar. My address is 1580 West Cayuse Creek Drive in Meridian, Idaho. I am one of the applicants. I am in favor of it. I must not have marked the right box, but I am definitely in favor of this project. I wanted to introduce you. I'm owner of Biltmore Company.
I just want to clarify one thing. Is that okay that we didn't have anybody in favor? We don't have anybody left to speak opposed? Do we need to make any kind of shift, or we can just move forward?
I think it's fine to move forward.
Okay, thank you. Sorry
Thank
about
you.
that. Go ahead.
Just wanted to introduce you to Biltmore Company. We will be one of the builders in the community. We're also Rama Group, which is my name backwards, because we're really very original that way. But we are excited to be in Caldwell. We have spent a lot of time to create a plan that is a community. We've seen a lot of subdivisions. We don't enjoy building in what we term just a subdivision. We want a community, want a variety of lot sizes. We feel like we've thoughtfully designed this plan with the smaller lots next to the Charles on the north, and then going to the south, taking those larger lots. One of the important things for us to do when we're in any community is the major amenities need to be built in phase one of that community, so the people can move in. It's not a promise that it'll happen in the future. It's part of that phase one development. So that will be done at the same time that we put in the roads for phase one. The extension of Sears Point will be part of phase one as well. We understand there's some connection that will be beneficial to the city. We also understand that's going to bring possibly some extra traffic, but overall it's going to provide interconnectivity with existing road networks within the community. We did spend some time with Joy Palmer, and we were able to coordinate with engineering as well. At one point we had an additional connection point on Lake. Joy was concerned about that connection point. He didn't want to direct children down the road and then across the street. He wanted them to be able to cross at that future roundabout. Engineering department was able to work with us, and we were able to coordinate with him. So I think we've done really well at trying to coordinate with not only the neighbors, the city, but also bring into account the concerns that the school district has as well. We look forward to be a benefit and a part of your community, and we'd request your approval at this time, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? The only question I have is, during the presentation, they said that you are one of the builder teams. Is there going to be different builders in there?
There will be different builders. I'm a firm believer in multiple builders following a strict set of architectural control guidelines. Too many times, each builder has their own flavor and their own flair, and sometimes it's hard to get out of our own way when we try to come up with a different style. But we've found when we bring in multiple builders, as long as with those guidelines that we have, that we can provide a more unique community with different flavors and different styles within the community, and it turns out overall as a better project.
Thank you.
Madam President.
Councilor Tillman?
So on that note, you're going to be the primary builder, correct? Basically the first builder?
Well, yes, we don't have any other builders. We've not gone out to anybody else.
Okay, so you will be setting those in your CCNRs prior, all those guidelines for the future builders to be
Yes,
similar
Madam
to
President.
you in that sense, correct?
Councilman Tillman, there will be CCNRs provided as well as ACC guidelines. Everybody, including myself, even as the builder, will have to go through the Architectural Control Committee to get approved based on those guidelines, as will all the other builders.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we will have the applicant back.
Madam President, just for clarification for the record, looking at the phasing plan, it does look like that buffer over against those out parcels to the south is proposed to be with Phase 5. So that fence wouldn't be installed until that point unless the applicant proposes to do so before then or it's conditioned.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam President, council members again, thank you again for your, it's a long evening, for your time and consideration, and I wanted to thank the neighbors to come out. We really appreciate discussing the project with them. I've spoke to Nancy several times at the hearings, and I've also emailed her, and we have, I have told her that we will definitely be fencing her area, and any concerns that she has, or if you feel necessary to condition that, we'd be fine with that. As far as the traffic flow, I have a slide at the very end that I was going to bring up, but it shows the connection point and how the long-term planning for this area was designed. All these subdivisions were supposed to connect through Sears Point. And sorry as I go through all my slides, but it is and Haley can speak on this, but it's a very pivotal location to create movement in this area that's not dependent on the state highway. So I have way too many slides, sorry. We're so excited, we have so much to say about the project. But I'll get to that, and I can kind of explain the traffic flow. The concern at that intersection, I think that is why there's a roundabout being proposed at that location. There's not going to be a light. But as for Sirius and Lake, that's why that roundabout. As far as timing, that would probably be a question for Haley as well. But we're almost there. This kind of shows you in the orange the connection point, and it's going to be connecting all the way to Nampa to Florida Street. So that has been designed intentionally. There's a stub road there for continuation. It's going to continue to the east all the way down and provide that flow of traffic that is really essential for this area, especially so that the site area is not dependent on the state highway. And again, if you look at the roundabout and you look at that corner where Nancy's at, you can see the buffering. We have a 20-foot landscape buffer, and then we'll also have the fencing. So there should be significant buffering for both those parcels there to that the neighbors have spoke that will have adequate buffer, but also adequate fencing that will help with noise and abatement for any disruption during construction. And with that, just real quick, just to summarize, we're super excited and we feel like this is a beautiful project for the right time in the right area. And the development has been just carefully designed to provide high-quality residential environment, incorporating attractive architecture, cohesive neighborhood design, and meaningful amenities. It's also exciting to introduce some new builders in the area, bringing a fresh product type, maybe with a little higher end housing option that will contribute to housing diversity within the community. This project emphasizes quality construction and again, thoughtful design, ensuring the neighborhood enhances the surrounding area and provides long-term value. Overall, we feel that it meets the intent of your comprehensive plan and all the key elements, again, of a well-designed community. And with that, I'll thank you again for the pleasure of your time and stand for any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Councilor Williams.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you for your presentation. It's almost like you've either heard this or done this before and you knew what boxes to check.
Maybe a few times. Thank you.
I like the project. There's really not a lot of opposition here. So it seems like a really small ask to kind of just check the one box that's hanging to agree to put the fencing up around these neighbors, even though, pardon me, that's way later on in your development. I understand that's an expense not planned in phase one, but from what I'm hearing, you've done all the other work in every other regard. It seems as though this would be an easy thing for you as the applicant to say, we'll take care of that, put the fences up first around those neighbors. Is that something you'd be willing to do as a condition?
Madam President, Councilmember Williams, I think I got the head shaking that I think we would be more than happy to have that as a condition of approval and to put up that fencing for the neighbors.
Perfect, thank you.
I just want to say that in our discussion, I do have some concerns that I'm going to talk to staff about, but you do a really nice presentation.
Thank you.
And I think that, like, if I didn't have the concerns that I had, I'd be jumping all, I think you do a really nice job. I just want you to
thank
know
you, Madam
that.
President. Thank you.
But unfortunately, the concerns that I have are not something you can solve. So, but I do appreciate you being here and for doing such a nice job.
Thank you.
And I don't see any other comments or
No.
questions.
Okay, thank you, council members.
Okay, so since we have completed the public hearing, I will declare the hearing closed, and the council can discuss the application before making motions and voting. Councilor Allgood.
Yes. I just had a quick question for Haley. I'm looking at the Google map here and where Agape comes in next to where the proposed roundabout is. Does that create an issue, they're being so close together? Is that, I mean, are we even that far down the road yet?
Councilman Allgood, and sorry, Madam President, yes, certainly having two access points that close together is not ideal. We try not to remove existing driveway connections when development comes online. If the residents along Agape Way were interested in relocating their access onto Cirrus Drive, it certainly would be more ideal rather than having a driveway right off of the roundabout. But we are planning to do that roundabout per our Caldwell Area Transportation System Plan. Sometime between 2036 to 2041 is when we're expecting that roundabout be necessary. Of course, if there's a lot of development in that area, that roundabout could come online sooner, of course. But yes, I would say that it's definitely not the ideal situation to have driveway access right next to a collector road. So if they were interested in pulling driveway access off of Cirrus Drive rather than off of Agape Way onto Lake, I think that would be a more ideal situation. But as part of this development, I'm not going to force them to close Agape Way down on Lake.
Yeah, and they're in the county, they don't fall under our city rules.
Correct.
So, thank you, I appreciate that.
Councilor Tillmont?
Yeah, Haley, same question. I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at the overlay, and my engineer head is starting to spin. This is a right out only, and they pretty much can only access Agape if they're doing a right-hand turn off of Cirrus and doing a reverse U-turn to get into it. There's no space. They're basically looking at the overheads. I'm looking at, PP5, so the preliminary engineering sheet. They're basically at the sidewalk or at the crossing. That's where their access point is. If this is scaled correctly, their driveway is sitting in the crosswalk.
Yes, their driveway is very close to Cirrus Drive. Because Cirrus Drive connects to the east side, I would not propose that the applicant move Cirrus Drive to the north to provide more distance away from Agape, because we do want that backer road connectivity. And with this being a roundabout in particular, we want to make sure that they are in line with one another. So again, I would just, it's unfortunate that the driveway is right where we have master planned for Cirrus Drive. And if there's a desire to close Agape Way's connection onto Lake and connect rather onto Cirrus Drive, I think that would be a good proposal. And the applicant may want to speak on that if they would be willing to assist with that connection.
I'm looking at this plan, and your storm drain sewer field, or your storm drain field, all your pipe work is sitting right about where I would put the drive. If I was to access their property. Like I said, once again, my head's just spinning I'm looking at it going, there's no other way without ending up in the property that's to the west, into their grass, beyond their driveway. That may have to move. That would be a lot of engineering rework
the storm would have to.
All the storm piping that I'm looking at that's sitting right in that block B6, if you had the thing, it's on sheet 60 of 157, but I'm just kind of looking at it, knowing enough about accesses, roundabouts, everything else. That's not going to be an easy fix.
Yes, and so that would be something that, if this access were to remain, would need to be heavily coordinated during the roundabout design. That, to your point, so the engineering design for that roundabout is not complete. So any rework that would need to be done, it hasn't been completed yet. As far as the applicant's storm system, and they're
If you could, that'd be perfect.
Are we allowed to do that?
Yes, just, you'll have to reopen up the.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine, if the council president can do that as
If
leading
you're willing to reopen it.
the meeting.
Okay,
Just.
public hearing reopened.
Sorry, it's just, I wasn't sure if that was. Freaking huge access.
Thank you, Madam President and council members. My name is David Bailey of Bailey Engineering. My office address is 1119 East State Street in Eagle, Idaho. So we looked at this, when we put the project together, and we understand that the Agape Way is there, and they have a driveway that's there. The unfortunate for the neighbors, and what we're faced with here is that Cirrus Drive is a long-term road, needs to align with across the street, that is according to the city plans, and so we put the plan in there, associated with that. So whoever developed this property, or even if they didn't develop, and you're gonna continue to connect Cirrus, which is an important collector street in your system, we would have this problem anyways.
Right.
And then if you want to build the roundabout, even without Cirrus, you still have this problem because that driveway is in the influence zone of the roundabout. So what we're thinking is that we're not gonna affect it, and we're not gonna tell them or the city, what to do with that drive there. But what does come is that we have a common lot that we're gonna put utilities in. As you noted, there's some storm drains, but that's a preliminary design, and that could be changed, and driveways can go on top of storm drain utilities, that's not a big deal, with the design, so, not a real effect. But what we think might be a long-term solution, and again, we're not gonna tell the neighbors or the city what to do, is that Cirrus Drive is there, we provide an easement or even an approach built over that to the west of there, so Agape Drive can take access onto Cirrus Drive directly. In the future, this solves the city's problem of what do we do with that driveway when we do the roundabout, and it may not be the optimal for the neighbors there, but there's gonna be some solution at some point in the future anyways. So, we think that that's a good solution, but again, we're not gonna tell you what to do, but if there's a solution that works, we're willing to provide an easement or actually an approach at that point. So if they change their mind in the future, or the city does, they have easily access to that. From a traffic perspective, that makes the most long sense in the future, is for that to get out their drive, to be able to access Cirrus Drive out of the influence zone of the roundabout, and works for them and for everybody else.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was looking for.
Okay, thank you very much.
Madam President.
Counselor Williams?
Haley, just to clarify for my sake, do I understand you to say, regardless of this development, our plan is to put that roundabout at Cirrus and Lake?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Madam President, just some housekeeping. We'll need to close the public record again since it's being reopened.
Okay, so the public hearing is closed again. Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, I do have a question. So I was just looking this over. One thing that I just want to be very clear about, I appreciate you working with Valley View Schools. I'm looking at their letter that does talk about their enrollment challenges. In the letter, they say Falcon Ridge Elementary is a new school. They are concerned that it will be at capacity before 2030, and I found this interesting. Falcon Ridge has capacity for 700 students. As it stands right now, in its first year, they're at 647 students. So they only have room for roughly 53 more students. It then goes on to list out the current and proposed developments at various stages of approval of construction that will add enrollment pressure to West Canyon. And that's, they've listed out 4 different developments with the amount of homes coming in, which are about 900 in that area. And then this subdivision adds another 194 homes. So I think I think the presentation was great. I think it's a beautiful subdivision, but this is the kind of stuff that really concerns me, is when we just don't have the capacity to take care of who we already have coming. And then my other question for Haley, can we get an update on the water situation in this area? I know it was a concern, and we're also hearing about a drought.
Madam President, yes, absolutely. So this subdivision is split between 2 water zones, Zone 2 and Zone 3. Zone 2, we are completing improvements at one of our wells that will be improvements both for the pumps at the well and for the booster stations at the well that will help increase capacity of this zone. In Zone 3, we are currently under construction of a new well. This is occurring over at 10th and Homedale, Bear and Homedale, so just a little bit west of 10th. And this well is going to supply more water to this area. Until this well is constructed and we are able to do full well tests, I cannot state at this time how much capacity it's going to add, again, until we have that well fully operational. But I do expect that well to alleviate the concerns in pressure zone 3 that this subdivision is located in. The applicant has also provided an area in one of their common spaces for 10,000 square feet. It's a 0.23 acre lot for where a well could be placed if we deem it necessary that we need to provide another well in this area.
And who would pay for that well?
New wells are typically paid for through the water department, as they serve large regions, not just single developments.
So they would give you the space, but we would pay for it?
Correct.
Right, and okay. I'm concerned because we've had all the struggles with water bills going up, water rates, and then we know that there's a problem with water down here, and like you said, you can't make a determination on certain things until something's done being built. And so that concerns me as well about sustaining just the basic needs for another subdivision, no matter how beautiful it is. And do you have any concerns about the drought that they're talking about?
I think that there's definitely a concern for the drought that the drought proclamation that was just broadcast and proclaimed. This concern is not just Caldwell specific, of course. It's really regionally and valley-wide. As you know, the reason for the drought is because we had such an unseasonably warm winter, which was quite pleasant for many of us. However, that means there's very little snowpack. So we are already seeing a large amount of snow in the mountains melting at 10,000 feet. Normally you don't start seeing that snow melt that high of elevation until further into the season. So definitely there will be a shortage of our water supply this year. The drought is going to have a significant impact on our irrigation supply. Certainly, our groundwater is going to see some effects with the drought as well, where we have our municipal wells. But the most significant impact is going to be to our irrigation. And when people have a shortage in irrigation, they start hooking their hoses up to the house and start using municipal water for irrigating.
Right, okay. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, we've already closed the public hearing, but I think that's just the way it is. I apologize. Any other questions for staff or discussion? Okay. So I guess the only thing I want to say is that I again think that I think it's very beautiful. But I think with the school population is listed out by Valley View, and then of course the water issues in that area, not being able to even know where we're at with water until the well is complete, along with the drought, I think this is definitely I just don't know how we can move forward with those things unanswered. Counselor Dittenberg?
Thank you. I'm going to move this along. So based upon the Caldwell City Code, the comprehensive plan, and upon the testimony and evidence in record and the facts presented, I move that the annexation request of parcel number R328250120 be approved.
Second.
Okay, so we have.
Sorry, Madam President.
Yes,
Sorry.
yes.
Would that motion include the removal of condition 3 as requested by staff?
It would.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, and I guess we're good to go for votes.
Dittenberg,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Allgood,
Yes.
Register,
No.
Stodic,
Recuse?
Tillmont.
No.
So the motion passes 4 to
No.
2. I'm sorry, 3 to 2. Okay. And then we need a motion to approve the ordinance, right?
Yes, Madam President and Council, we now need to move on. If it's an approval for annexation, now we need to move to an approval for the zoning associated with the annexation.
Okay, is there a motion to do what she just said?
Madam President,
Yes.
based upon Caldwell City Code, the comprehensive plan, upon the testimony and the evidence given and the facts presented, and the applicable city code and the approval criteria, I move that proposed R2 zoning associated with the annexation of R328250120 be approved.
Second.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second to approve the zoning.
Dittenberg,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Allgood,
Yes.
Tillmont,
No.
Stodic,
Recuse?
Register.
No. So the motion passes 3 to 2. Okay,
Madam President?
yes.
Sorry, if we could, we'll now move on to the preliminary plat approval.
Is there a motion for the preliminary plat approval?
We're looking for it. We don't see it. We've got 2 rezone pages, but no plat approval page.
Yes, so
So we just need a
the number 2 where it says zoning associated with annexation is what you just approved. Now, if you flip to the third one, the rezone is for the parcel that's already annexed into the city that's not part of the annexation, so you'll need to read that one again. Oh, I see what you're saying. You don't have the preliminary plat one. I know, they need to do the rezone, but I didn't give them the preliminary plat one. I know.
So do we need a motion for the rezone, or we already did that?
No, you do need a motion for the rezone.
So a motion for the rezone? I feel like that's what we just did.
There's 2 rezone pages.
Yeah, there's an initial zoning that goes with the annexation, and then there's a rezone on the parcel that's already existing.
All right, I think I got this, but you guys will square it away. One is for the rezone of the annexed property, and the other is for the rezone of the current property that's already in city limits.
That's correct.
Okay, so based upon Caldwell City Code, the comprehensive plan, upon testimony, evidence, and record in fact, and the applicable city code approval criteria, I move that the proposed rezone from RS2 to R2 for parcel number R32822501100 be approved.
Second.
Dittenberg,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Allgood,
Yes.
Tillmont,
Yes.
Stodic, Register.
No.
Okay, Madam President, now council, if I did not give you a cheat sheet for preliminary plat, I apologize. So if you are going to approve it, you can read it just like you did the rezone, except state that you're approving the preliminary plat.
Okay, I'll try this. Based upon the Caldwell City Code, the comprehensive plan, and upon testimony, evidence, and record, the facts presented, and applicable city code approval criteria, I move that we approve the preliminary plat for Westbuilt Estates subdivision.
Perfect.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second, with the conditions as stated, including the agreement for the vinyl fence for the neighbors.
Yes.
In the first phase. Or no, that was the other one.
Dittenber.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Allgood.
Yes.
Tillmont.
No.
Stoddard. Register.
No.
I promise we're good now.
Okay, so is that all of it?
Right?
Yeah, now you can move on to the next item, yeah.
Okay,
Question. Don't you need to do the ordinance?
Do we need an ordinance also?
Yes.
okay. So that is not on my papers, so give me just.
Madam President,
Yes.
I
Counselor
move
White.
to sponsor Bill number 73,
There we go.
ordinance number 3725, associated with ANN 25-000011, with a request to move for the passage by title only, approve the summary for publication.
Second.
Okay, so motion and a second.
Williams.
Yes?
Dittenber.
Yes.
Allgood.
Yes.
Tillmont.
No.
Stoddard. Register.
No. Okay, so now we're done with that one. All right, very good. Okay, so finance report.
Madam Chair, I keep doing that. Madam President, I apologize.
Counselor Allgood.
I move to approve accounts payable in the amount of $4,708,497.71, represented by check numbers 192537 through 192882, and electronic payments and payroll in the amount of $921,351.53, represented by check numbers 40763 through 40776, and direct deposits be accepted, payments approved, and vouchers filed in the office of the city clerk.
Second.
Okay, so it's been moved by Counselor Allgood, seconded by Counselor Tillmont to accept the finance report. This can be a, just an aye vote. Okay, and all those in favor? Vote.
Aye.
Okay. All those opposed? Okay, great. Motion carries. Okay, so council reports. So Counselor Dittenber. Counselor Allgood.
I don't have anything except my good law enforcement buddies in the back. I went back and visited them with them on the abatement issue. That's been state code since 1998.
Perfect. Thank you. Counselor Williams?
Counselor Allgood forgot to mention the library, but I'm glad he left something for me. There was a really good meeting had with Cushing Terrell. The mayor was present, and we're continuing to discuss the possibility of expanding and remodeling our library along with our senior center. There's a lot of work to be done, but it's really a good project. We're just in planning and vision and potential, and so keep it in mind, it's coming.
Thank you. Counselor Tillmont?
Nothing tonight?
Counselor Stoddard?
Nothing.
Okay, well, I don't really have anything either, except to thank everybody for coming and to letting me do this, to Justin for putting together the script, and all the help with city staff.
And by the way, you did a really good job.
Well, thank you. Thank you all for, oh, wait, I do get one, is that it? Are we done?
Do we need executive?
Okay, so we're adjourned.